A little reckless. Ain't no longevity in that. But why should the internet tell them that? They should know that. And abide by that. And abide by that. Anyway, this is the moment we've been waiting for. We are on the Lil Durk documentary. I'ma say this. Chat, whenever you see the notification go out for this, run to it. I'll make this sweet for y'all. We got a whole beam. A whole beam. 5 people. Just drop them. We'll get to it. You'll know. You will know. You're gonna see a like, little comment, tell you to go check something. Now, yo, after the claps, like up the video. After the claps, like the video. You got to after the claps. Yep. Let's get into it. It's 4 hours. We can't waste not a time. Like, can't waste no time, my man.
For content third parties publish. This video is a collection of rumors, lyrics, legal paperwork, and my own opinion. This video is covered by...
So he probably be lying in this video. He said rumors, so rumors are halfway lies, halfway truth. Just take the video with a grain of salt. Just take it with a grain of salt. And on top of that, you shouldn't be taking this as actual factual anyway. Wait till some court paper come out. They gonna have real evidence. Right now, we just gossiping. Yep.
By fair use and contains my own personal analysis and critique of publicly available information only. Visit patreon.com/traplordross if you want uncut, extended, and early versions of my best videos. In 2024, Chicago rapper Lil Durk was at the pinnacle of his career. One of the leading pioneers of drill music, the violent modern incarnation of gangster rap, over the course of his 14-year career, he'd released a series of mixtapes and albums that cemented his place as one of the most influential and impactful gangster rappers in history, and earning him the nickname The Voice. Over those years, he racked up 4 Grammy nominations, finally winning one in 2024 for his inspirational hit song All My Life with fellow rap megastar J. Cole. The song went double platinum, selling 2 million copies by the end of 2023, an uplifting anthem for the streets. It included an infectious hook where Durk claimed that all his life, people had been trying to hold him down. He rapped that they never thought he would make it out, but they couldn't take him and they couldn't break him. In his verse, he admonished the media for calling him a menace and using his past against him. He rapped about sitting down with the mayor of Chicago and politicians.
No, somebody, one of the mods, and I don't remember timing him out. What'd he say, mod? What'd he say?
In an effort to change his image, Durk had presented himself as a misunderstood and falsely persecuted artist who was trying to provide a positive message to the downtrodden community he'd emerged from. But it would turn out that this may well have been one big facade, as the world would soon find out the dark reality behind Durk's music was much worse than anyone could have ever imagined. As on October the 24th, 2024, rap fans around the world would get news of a bombshell allegation, as federal prosecutors would announce that they had charged 5 people connected to Lil Durk's OTF record label and rap group with the murder of a young man named Savia Robinson, aka Lil PAB, the cousin of rival rapper Quando Rondo, who had been brutally shot to death 2 years earlier at a gas station in Los Angeles. With PAB's death and the chilling aftermath caught on camera,
I ain't gonna sit here and cap, bro. When you get to seeing a rapper like doing overly good stuff or overly trying to show they doing good stuff to their community and all that, like if you weren't knowing that early on in your career, but this tail end of your career, you just every couple months, every month, every couple of weeks, you just doing God's work for real. It kind of seems forced and disingenuous. Now I understand some people change their lives, but like when you go grow for the better, you still kind of keep the same pattern and habits, like.
And broadcast on the news for the whole world to see.
New details tonight in a deadly shooting near the Beverly Center. We've learned the victim is a friend of rapper Quando Rondo. Video from the scene appears to show Quando Rondo distraught while first responders move the body. So far, no arrests have been made.
It all started at this mobile gas station at 5:30 Friday evening. LAPD says witnesses heard multiple gunshots, then watched a couple cars zoom off. 3 people in one car shot at this black Cadillac Escalade. It's unclear if those inside shot back. Deputies found it peppered with bullet holes and a shattered window. One man inside, a member of Rondo's entourage, had been
Keep it high in the chat. So when this news right here first broke, who? Oh, yeah.
shot. The 23-year-old was taken to the hospital where he died. The scene left with remnants of the fight, shoes left in the street, doors flung open. Shots fired, a fight taken to the streets, and this chaotic scene, the ending of a shooting that started in Los Angeles, California. Sheriff's deputies pulling out a man who had been shot in an SUV. Savannah rapper Quando Rondo, a
Bruh, it should be funny.
passenger in that
It should
car,
be
frantic
funny.
at the site.
The details and footage of this disturbing
Big
murder
bruh.
would be seen and read all around the world. But not only was it a brutal hit, carried out in broad daylight with no regards for the safety of the public, but it took place next to one of the most popular tourist attractions in the city, the Beverly Center shopping mall. A brazen murder that ironically bared the hallmarks of a similar murder carried out in Chicago 2 years prior, where another rap rival of Lil Durk's, FBG Duck, was gunned down by a group of 6 men, with that crime also being caught on surveillance footage in its entirety. Once again in broad daylight in a busy tourist hotspot, a high-end fashion district, with the murder happening right outside the Dolce & Gabbana store.
Well, Rob, Chicago police tell me that these 3 victims were targeted, that 4 men in 2 different vehicles came down Oak Street, stopped right here in the middle, and started firing. Lights, sirens, and crime scene tape taking over one of Chicago's most notable streets. Word is spreading on social media that the 26-year-old man pronounced dead is a well-known Chicago rapper.
To see this happen in the middle of the day is very, very disturbing.
And just like in the murder of Lil PAB, FBG Duck was left to die in the middle of the street, traumatizing innocent members of the public, one of whom was even hit in the crossfire.
Hey, yo, what's going on? I'm here. I'm in the go-kart. They shot FBG Duck, man. I don't know who shot him, man. I just ran into this, y'all. Man.
But interestingly, all of the men who were involved in the murder of FBG Duck were found guilty of murder, despite the fact that for over a year while the case was being built, they seemingly ran free, expecting no consequences and incriminating themselves extensively. Some of those people involved in the murder were dead by the time the FBI swooped in and delivered justice, and many of those involved were close friends of Lil Durk himself. One of those convicted, Marcus Smart, known in the streets and on songs as Moo-Wop, was a very close friend of Durk's, even being seen on flights with Durk, flexing wads of cash shortly before his arrest and posing for pictures, calling himself Gangsta Killer.
Snort, let me hold $50 to next week. No! No!
Hello. What that is? I gotta get on that. What that is? Who got the most views? Let's see that. Who got the most views? It's yours. Gangsta Killer. Check him out. Gangsta Killer.
All of this isn't a good look for Durk, but the most important piece of the puzzle is another infamous figure in the Chicago gangland, as well as its buzzing drill music scene, infamous Black Disciple member and apparent leader of the O-Block faction of the gang, King Von. Allegedly, Von had orchestrated the murder of Duck and put a 6-figure bounty on his head prior to the murder, but this wasn't Von's first time taking a life in Chicago. Von had allegedly killed 7 people in the gang war between the Black Disciples and the Gangster Disciples in Chicago, something that I broke down in detail in a 3-hour documentary on my channel where I actually argued that he indeed met the FBI's definition of a serial killer. Somehow, Von always managed to evade justice, either beating his murder charges in court due to lack of evidence or not being charged at all due to the fact that his murders were usually committed in the dead of night in the slums of Southside Chicago, rather than the broad daylight assassinations that his friends would later carry out in front of the public. King Von was one of Lil Durk's best friends, and when Von beat his last murder charge at the end of 2017, he decided to follow in Lil Durk's footsteps, becoming a drill rapper too, and openly rapping about the many murders he'd allegedly committed. Von's raps, openly bragging about real murders he'd apparently committed, made him a star in drill music, and with Lil Durk's help and guidance, he quickly became the most buzzing gangster rapper in drill music. But in his heart, Von was still a violent thug, and his tendencies to commit brazen violence would begin to impact Durk's career. In 2019, Von and Durk, along with 2 other people, would be accused of attempted murder and armed robbery, with the 2 appearing in court together.
Case against a rapper accused in a shooting outside of the Varsity will move forward. Today, Lil Durk appeared in court where a judge ruled there was enough evidence for him to go to trial.
On Friday, detectives from Atlanta and Chicago testified in the criminal case against rapper Lil Durk in Fulton County Court. They say around 5 in the morning on February 5th, Lil Durk, whose real name is Dirk Banks, and his co-defendant Devon Bennett were seen on camera involved in shooting Alexander Witherspoon, a person police say they knew.
They were hanging out. They went to a studio to make music.
The rapper and Bennett listened to the evidence against them in court. Police told the judge later that night that
it sounded like Buddy was trying to get a feature. They weren't trying to rap for Buddy. His music must have been trash or something. Has anybody ever heard Buddy songs? I mean,
the victim, Banks, Bennett, and others went to a nightclub, a gas station, and ended up in the parking lot of the Varsity. That's when Weatherspoon said he was robbed and shot.
Interestingly, Durk looked stressed and nervous in court, while Von looked comfortable and in a familiar domain. Durk and Von would refer to themselves over the years as the Evil Twins, and in one song titled Evil Twins, they referred to themselves as that and went back and forth, repeating, "If you do it, I'ma do it," even saying "go hop out the car and do it." Clearly, Von was a dark and negative influence on Lil Durk and his career. Von was in the habit of doing real crimes and rapping about them in his music without a care for who heard it. And if Von did it, then Durk would begin doing it too. But unfortunately for the Evil Twins, Von would suddenly die in November 2020 after launching an unprovoked beating on the rapper Quando Rondo in front of an Atlanta hookah lounge. Sometimes in life, every action has a reaction, and the reaction from this beating resulted in one of Quando's friends, Lil Tim, jumping out of the car, opening fire, and killing King Von. Ironically, Von, the demonic killer turned rapper who had seemingly murdered 7 people in Chicago and got away with it, ended up getting shot dead after starting a fist fight with a rapper rather than in a shootout with gangsters. His feud with Quando Rondo started on the internet rather than in the streets, off the back of a back and forth with Quando's friend and label mate NBA Youngboy, who seemingly didn't want to proceed with a collaboration with King Von. This was followed by a petty back and forth where Von took pictures with the mother of Youngboy's child. Von essentially died over nothing more than an internet back and forth with a rapper, turned fight, turned self-defense shootout, and in the end, he was no longer here to face the music for the murders that he'd done.
I mean, truth in the details, Brody. Yes, Durk was rapping about that gangster stuff before Von got around him, but he amplified that once Von was around him. Okay. Now, listen to the songs he was making after Von, passed away. That's when we got all my life. They've been trying to keep me down. Right. It's like a whole 180 change, I'm not saying Von had complete influence, but Durk seen what was selling when it came to Von. Durk seen what was selling. True. And I swear to God, if Von would have had just like another year or two, because his trajectory was going to pass Durk.
And arranged. But after King Von died, Lil Durk was still running free. And interestingly, after Von's death, Durk was able to make a maneuver and have the attempted murder and armed robbery charges he caught with Von miraculously dropped. The sudden and tragic death of King Von meant that Lil Durk had having and continuing to provide for his family and the people who relied on him. But it would seem that his apparent desire to slide and get revenge was actually stronger than his desire to chase money, success, and security for his loved ones. As he famously rapped on the song Wonderful Wayne and Jackie Boy with Babyface Ray, he would rather get revenge than get millions. And he would seemingly know his fate long before the murders happened when he rapped on his song Red Man that when people ask him where he think he'll be in 10 years, he replies, in federal custody. Ultimately, 2 years after Lil PAB was murdered, the indictment would claim in black and white that this murder was allegedly a get-back for the killing of King Von. But this wasn't a surprise to anyone who'd been paying attention, as within months of the murder of Lil PAB, Lil Durk and others close to him would begin to claim openly in music and on podcasts that Lil Durk had indeed slid for Von.
Oh, they did something. Oh, slide for him. Oh, you. Oh, yeah.
Slide for Von, right? Yeah.
You talking about? By the slide for Von.
This people I added that.
You can't say that no more.
Oh, because of FBG Cash? Oh, who?
Yeah, yeah, already. So you're not condoning more violence? What? Everybody you telling me about don't matter.
But it wasn't just interviews. In fact, just 4 months after the murder, Lil Durk and his OTF rap collective and label released a project titled Loyal Bros 2. And while many people missed it at the time, this entire project was wall-to-wall with jaw-dropping self-incrimination, not just from Durk, but his friends and label mates. In fact, when the indictment dropped, reports would soon begin to spread of an unidentified co-conspirator who had allegedly organized this murder and offered lucrative music opportunities to the other suspects. It could very well be the case that Lil Durk had actually offered his subordinates verses and feature opportunities in exchange for carrying out real murders. Unfortunately now, Lil Durk is charged with murder for hire in the case of Lil PAB, but the dark truth is, this very well may just be the tip of the iceberg. And ever since the paperwork dropped, there's been intense speculation as to whether this was a one-off incident, or had Durk actually spent several years using his power, status, and money to have numerous enemies murdered before rapping about it in front of the whole world for everyone to hear. The fact is, there's a total of 6 high-profile murders that Lil Durk is rumored to have orchestrated. So today, we're going to be taking a closer look at those cases to try and work out once and for all whether Lil Durk was really the mastermind behind this series of gruesome murders.
Chicago, Illinois, man. Lil Durk, Inglewood area, whole city, man. I'm saying we out here rapping, doing our thing. I got a big buzz, man. Trying to stay tuned, get rich. I'm just a young, I'm 17 years old.
So tell me a little bit about Inglewood.
You know, of the 9, with all the murders and all that happening right now.
I mean, Newski. They left his ass right here.
One of the other interviews, you said that your dad was caught with like $8 million, 6 bricks.
Yeah. That's why I want to be just like him.
So, Durk Banks, also known as Lil Durk. It brings me great honor and pleasure as the mayor of the village of Broadview to present this key.
What made you want to sign him?
Monster.
You got a name?
King Von,
King Von.
K-I-N-G.
What made you want to sign King Von?
Because he got a whole story behind him.
And so on behalf of the village of Broadview, we are honored to present this key to the city, to Durk Banks Neighborhood Heroes. This key is a token of our appreciation for your collaboration and partnership.
On the road again, back on the road again. We catch you, you through. We catch you, you through.
A rapper accused in a shooting outside of the Varsity will move forward. Today, Lil Durk appeared in court where a judge ruled there was enough evidence for him to go to trial.
I have nothing to hide.
Duck was a threat, gang, with the music, for real, for real. He gonna be a problem inside this industry for us. We gonna be forced to hit it. We gonna be forced.
4 men in 2 different vehicles came down Oak Street, stopped right here in the middle, and started firing.
Chat. Some of the stuff FBG Butter be saying makes sense, and again, it don't. I just don't see what was the point of putting $100,000 on FBG Duck, man. So what, he can make decent music? So what? My opinion, $100,000 just don't make sense. And just to do it because he decent at making music, I expect, because they the opposite, they supposed to be trash at everything. They already second place when it comes to certain things. I don't know. It's just a lot. 6 figures on one guy. I don't care how much money you got. $100,000 for spending on somebody you don't like just don't make sense to me. And then you can't get mad at him for dissing y'all back and him saying F this guy, F that guy, F this guy, when you doing the same to them. So that's another thing why I'm like, just don't seem like it's the thing. But then again, a lot of stuff ain't making sense. So let's just keep it going.
That's a Chicago rapper, man, by the name of FBG Duck. Shot.
No, they got 60 dirt. Some dirty.
If we into it for real, like not no faking to it. If we into it, I don't know. Cause they be thinking, yeah, it's a lot of faking to it going on. But if we into it, you say we into it, you better, I swear to God.
Dante Banks was killed when he was shot in the head. Banks is the older brother of locally known rapper Lil Durk.
Yeah. So we thank you and we honor you and we appreciate you being in the village of Broadview, and here's your key.
Durk was embroiled in some.
So I just Google Maps. Got a key to this. He must went to a school or something out here. Oh no. If anybody in the YouTube chat or something can let me know why Durk got a key to a village of Broadview. It ain't like it's Lamron or anything. It's if you know the Chicago area, it look like it's out west. It's FAR 290. I'm trying to get something like to give a good reference. It's further west than Austin, than the Austin community. It's past Oak Park. Like, it's really out the way.
Eternal, I need you off of this earth beef.
It doesn't matter if they took it back. He still got it.
That's different.
Well, they still gave it to him at one point in time.
Because he what?
Of course. Not only that, he needed the guys who killed his brother off this earth.
Because I forgave my brother killer, but you know, I understand. I understand what y'all going through. And
how far is it from Old Block? Bus ride in a 6-hour walk. Yep.
I hope y'all make it out. I hope y'all make it out, man.
Well-known Chicago area rapper was killed in a drive-by shooting early this morning.
How much money would it take y'all to walk?
Morning, he raps under the name FBG Cash.
Sheriff's deputies pulling out a man who had been shot in an SUV.
Chicago rapper Lil Durk could be linked to a second murder-for-hire plot. Images of the gunman who shot and killed Stephon Mack in 2022. Grammy Award-winning Chicago rapper Lil Durk is facing new charges in a murder-for-hire plot.
I don't know. Might be the water.
You better have your gun for me. Better have your gun for Boom. Better have your gun for C. You don't believe me, you gonna see. You gonna end up by that tree.
Know that we did it.
If he is convicted, Durk could spend the rest of his life in prison.
Lil Durk, real name Durk Devontae Banks, was born on October the 19th, 1992. According to his mother, LaShonda Woodard, who has written a memoir about her life, Durk, or Tay as his mother called him, shorthand for Devontae, was a problem child from early on, who just couldn't stay still and was always getting into trouble. Durk and his two older siblings, his big brother Booney, better known as OTF D-Thang, and his big sister, Tuta, were not planned children, but rather, as his mother explains in her memoir, she would barely even know Durk's father when she would get pregnant unexpectedly with her oldest child D-Thang while they were both still in high school. And even after that, while Durk's father, Dante Banks, aka Big Durk, would help to provide for her and the kids, they were never officially together as a couple, even as she kept becoming pregnant due to failing to use contraception. And to make matters harder, Big Durk would end up getting locked up on serious charges when Lil Durk was only about 7 months old, as he would get busted for a major drug dealing operation in 1993, allegedly operating under the Gangster Disciple Nation, or GDN, and even having ties to the infamous founder of the gang himself, Mr. Larry Hoover, whom Big Durk would allegedly refuse to snitch on, ultimately winding up getting himself a life sentence that he would serve for over 2 decades, before successfully appealing his sentence and getting released in 2019, something which I discussed in detail in a deep dive video about the man, which you can go and watch if you want the full story on Big Durk. But anyway, Lil Durk and his family would spend his first years living in his grandmother's house and his mother's childhood home in the infamous Inglewood neighborhood, an address that would later become famous, being the name of his 7th studio album, the 7220 South Halsted Street. The family would get another addition in 1997 when Durk's mother gave birth to his younger sister, Tania. Sometime after that, the family would move to a Section 8 3-bedroom house on Laughlin Street. As a young schoolboy, Lil Durk would attend the Guggenheim Elementary School, located on 72nd and Morgan, a school which district officials would call the worst elementary school in Illinois in 2012 when the school was eventually closed due to its poor performance. According to his mother, Durk was so out of control as a child that she literally couldn't work because of how often she would be behavior. At only 9 years old, Durk would apparently even attempt to rob a Harold's.
My bad. I was just sitting. I muted. I was muted, but I was sitting here saying like, now where that one at? I'm trying to. Man, Harold's is. I mean, I keep praising Harold's. Let me just chill, relax. Anyway, I was sitting here saying, the internet a wacky place. Internet wacky place. How they get that younger picture of Durk? That's crazy. That is real crazy. And then I'm like, I don't even know how his mom. I mean, I ain't say no how. I meant to say I didn't even know his mama wrote a book. And then I asked y'all, hold up. Then I asked y'all, how many of y'all be reading books? Don't cat me down in the chat.
Chicken with his mother's gun that he had somehow found, with their neighbor actually then appearing at the family's front door holding Durk from his collar in one hand whilst holding the gun that they had taken from Durk in the other. Around the same age, Durk would also begin often fighting at school and stealing bikes, hiding them in the family's basement so that his mother wouldn't find them. But in his younger years, Durk was also very athletic, and he would be involved in the Jesse White Tumblers, an acrobatics program in Chicago, as well as playing basketball in his school's team. But unfortunately, both hobbies required him to keep up good grades at school in order to participate dissipate, which would ultimately take him away from sports altogether. Now, in order to get help with raising a young Lil Durk, his mother would eventually move back to live with Durk's grandmother at 7220 Halstead. But as Durk would later explain to Complex, this would do little to steer him away from trouble, and it was around this age that he would truly begin to get sucked into the street life.
72nd Halstead, house I grew up in, you know what I'm saying, my grandma's house. This is where it all started at, you know what I'm saying? Just the rap, the whole stop going to school. That's what we basically hopped out the streets when we came in. We grew up in a 3-bedroom house, really 2. My grandma kept a room to herself. D-thing hit the couch. I had the floor in the back. It just came from nothing, you know what I'm saying? It came from one house, like 10 people. Even days the lights was off. Nah, the worst memories of the motherfucker, not eating shit. That's the worst you can go. Really survive enough rice and toast like that.
Them good eats. Them good eats. And don't have like a leg quarter, chicken and rice. What? We're good. I just need a little hot sauce, a little butter for my rice. Some of y'all put sugar in your rice. For the people that put sugar in your rice, it's a special place for you. It's called the mental hospital. Take a first-class ticket there. Relax. You know what I mean?
Stop not eating at night. This house gave me intelligence, you know what I'm saying? It showed me to be a man, you know what I'm saying? Nobody won't think about make it out of here.
During his adolescence, Durk would become affiliated with 2 gangs from his neighborhood in Inglewood, Lamron and D-Town. Lamron would rep the streets between 62nd and 65th, with their main corner being on 64th and Normal Avenue. The name of the set, Lamron, in fact being normal, spelled backwards. But many members of Lamron would also rep the name OTF, which is now known to mean Only the Family. But OTF might not have always referred to Only the Family, as Durk's label is now known.
Y'all must put sugar in y'all grits too.
Because some have suggested that it actually originally stood for Only Trey Folks, a reference to the membership of the gang being made up exclusively of black disciples, a historic Chicago gang whose hand sign depicts them making a 3, or the Treys, a hand sign that was famously depicted on fellow BB drill rapper Chief Keef's Bang 3 mixtape. The first mentions of this OTF name on Facebook appear to be from around 2010, which is likely why the Feds are now also tracing OTF's founding back to that specific year. D-Town, on the other hand, was located directly north of Lamron, their main streets being 59th and 61st. These 2 sets were seemingly extremely close to each other, and they would both rep the number 300, with 3, as I've already mentioned, being an important number for the BDs or Black Disciples that both sets were indeed affiliated with. Together, the 2 sets would go under the umbrella name DTLR 600, the number 600 coming from literally adding the 2 300s together. Lamron and D-Town would also be very close with several other majority BD sets from the south side of Chicago, such as the now infamous Wick City, aka O-Block, located in the notorious Parkway Gardens housing projects known for rappers like Chief Keef and King Von, as well as TYMB, Blackgate, a crew known particularly for the rapper SD from Chief Keef's Glory Boys, Dipset, aka Front Street, known best for the late rapper Fredo Santana, Dog Pound, which is Durk's big brother D-Thang's gang set, as can be seen in this massive chain that he had made in the honor of the 72nd Street that the set hails from. There's also AMG, also known as Mac Block, or the Avenue, aka the Ave. There's Lowlife, and the much more famous 600 set from the Washington Park neighborhood, known for rappers like E-Day, Rondo No. 9, and the late LA Capone. Lamron and D-Town were also close with a set called Bang Bang Gang, or BBG, as can be seen from this picture in 2010, where Durk himself is portrayed together with this set's name, or in this 2010 music video, where Durk and Lil Reese shout out the set. In fact, one of the main members of Durk's OTF crew, Booney Mo, is allegedly from this majority black P-Stone set that reps 79th Street, particularly 79th and Damon, sometimes going by the name 227, as well as an older name, Terradome. This set would gain an infamous reputation in the 2010s due to their long war with a GD set called Killer Ward, which in 2015 led to a highly publicized murder of a 9-year-old boy named Tyshawn Lee, whose father was an alleged member of the Killer Ward gang. Killer Ward is interestingly also known for being King Von's original hood before he...
Hold on. That Tyron Lee, we actually did a video covering that. It's gonna be in the eye. But, they lured Lil Buddy to... First of all, they told Lil Buddy, we're going to get you some candy and snacks. When his father's old friends turned ops, did that to him. Once they got him, once they lured him, they killed the little boy because they couldn't get to the father. I swear to God, I almost cried on camera, bro. Real tears at the time. Like, I really felt that story. They shouldn't have to did that. Or shouldn't have to. They shouldn't have did it, period. I felt like that was a weak move. Yep.
He would move to Parkway Gardens or O Block.
Right now I'm in an area called Kilowar. This is where I grew up at. I went to grammar school on 6th and Walcott, like kindergarten or 8th grade. This is the area, so this played a big part of my life. I grew up being bad, gang banging around here.
But as Durk was getting increasingly into the street life, he would also begin his high school studies, first attending Percy Julian High School, located in the far south side of Chicago. But due to the long commute, he would soon transfer to the infamous Paul Robeson High School in Inglewood, another school that has since been closed due to its poor performance, and a school which many legendary people from the Chicago drill scene would attend in the early 2010s around the same time as Durk, including people like the late rapper Lil Jojo, who was from the Brick Squad set from 69th and Eggleston, their hood being located right next to that school, and this set having had a long-lasting beef with Lamron, D-Town, and other BD majority sets from around Englewood. The rapper Famous Dex also attended Robeson, Dex being from a GD set called Mo, or MOE, located in a large GD stronghold, a neighborhood referred to as No Love City, which would also beef heavily with Lamron and D-Town. The late rapper Lil Mister would also attend Robeson, even getting an opportunity to perform his drill anthems at the school. Lil Mister was from a set called Wooga World on 75th and Stewart, the set being very closely affiliated with Brick Squad and therefore also rivals to Lamron and D-Town. As Durk's mother would recall in her memoir, Robeson had numerous rival gangs that would bring far more problems to Lil Durk's young life. And over time, he and his friends would begin to get into increasingly violent encounters with the gangs that they didn't get along with. Eventually, these beefs and schoolyard fights would escalate into shootings and killings, with one of the first major losses on Durk's side being a 17-year-old called Lil Mo. Real name Terrence Hollins, he would be gunned down in Lamron's hood in July of 2009, and according to online rumors, Mo was killed by a member of No Love City called Tone Bone, but the facts regarding this case remain vague. In 2020, rapper Brick Youngster would rap in his song Let's Talk Part 2, OTF Diss, that Lil Mo was actually killed by friends of King Von, but it's not clear what friends he's specifically referring to. But in any case, Mo's death was clearly a major turning point for Lamron and D-Town, and they would pay tribute to him religiously. Durk, who had been getting into rapping around this time, would even make a tribute song to his fallen friend, this seemingly being one of the first of his old songs that can still be found on the internet. With Durk rapping to the classic beat from Lil Wayne and Gucci Mane's song We Be Steady Mobbin', Durk was clearly influenced by Lil Wayne's rapping style, and he was also seemingly into freestyling all of his lyrics on the spot. Now, the song is a far cry from the Durk drill anthems that he would produce just a few years later, but by its subject matter, the song was quite clearly a precursor to drill music as we know it today, as Durk would not only shout out other BD sets such as Dog Pound and the Av, but he would also diss numerous rival sets including No Love City, Brick Squad, and somewhat surprisingly also a set called Brick City, who were an older generation from the same hood as 600, a group of OTF allies from Washington Park, who would not long after become very close with Lamron and particularly Lil Durk personally. Similar set repping can actually be heard in Durk's other alleged 2009 song called My Partner Them, this song being a remix of the Atlanta rap crew Rich Kid's 2009 song My Partner Them. And again, Durk can be heard shouting out sets like Lamron, D-Town, Young Money, and Terradome, amongst others, as well as his friends like Lil Varney from Lamron. Also in 2009 is when Durk would begin to get in trouble with the law, as in November, he would be arrested for vehicular hijacking. According to the police reports, an unknown person would first try and rob a woman's car by force, and as the police would later find the car in traffic near D-Town's hood, two men would exit the car and attempt to escape, but they would be caught. One of these men turned out to be a 17-year-old Lil Durk. According to the police, while in custody, either Durk or the other man would freely state that he had seen the car running for about 20 minutes with no one inside, so he decided to take it. However, despite this admission, it doesn't appear that Durk ever received any legal consequences from this incident. But then, only a month later in December, Durk would again be arrested, this time for criminal trespassing, as he was hanging out with 3 other people inside of a laundromat in Dog Pound's hood on 72nd and Halsted, and interestingly, Durk's gang affiliation in the arrest report would be marked incorrectly as Gangster Disciple, perhaps due to his father's affiliation with the gang being widely known amongst the Chicago Police Department. But anyway, coming into 2010, Durk was now a bona fide gang member, but he was also beginning to really focus on his rap career, and in April, he would drop his first ever music video for a song that was first titled Wasted Freestyle, rapping on the beat from Gucci Mane's classic song Wasted. However, for some reason, that same channel would then release the same music video again a few weeks later, but this time with the title Lamron Wasted. But these two are the same song. The song was stylistically very similar similar to Durk's earlier songs, as he was still freestyling his lyrics whilst using the Lil Wayne style auto-tune delivery. And once again, much of the song was about him shouting out the numerous other sets and members in his area, including Terradome, Young Money, his friends Lil Varney, Booney Mo, and Tracy Mo, as well as Wick City and Blackgate, among many others. According to Durk's mother, this song would be an instant hit in Chicago, motivating Durk to focus on rap and take it seriously. And only about a month later, it was followed by another music video for a song titled L's, but this time, also the Grim Reaper of Chirac himself, Lil Reese, would be in the mix, somehow having a flow and lyrics that were
Hey, this nigga Lil Reese like he 16 right here. He said 2010. If Lil Reese was born in 92, 2010, he was like 18. Yep.
Light years ahead of his more recent output, which was not lost on fans of Chicago.
Let me just do my Lil Reese.
Drill when they would run into this video years later.
Now, he was born in 93, so he was like 17.
Put much more effort into this song, finally resulting to actually writing down and thinking about his lyrics rather than simply freestyling. And the beat of the song was also much darker than his earlier tracks, foreshadowing the formation of the drill sound that was soon to follow and become huge. However, for whatever reason, he would not drop any more music during 2010, but coming into 2011, he would truly get into his bag, dropping numerous songs and music videos, including Sneak Dissin' in January, I'm a Hitter in March, which would help Durk land a radio interview on University of Chicago's WHPK 88.5. There was the track Rob Who with Lil Reese that dropped in May, a track 227K in June, which would be a diss song towards their old friends, the BBG, aka Terradome, who they apparently had a falling out with, seemingly allying with Terradome's enemy, the Killer Ward, instead. Another track called Too Many Say Day Drillin' with Lil Reese was posted on YouTube by none other than Chief Keef, who was also beginning to get a major buzz in the city for his music around this time as well. He would then drop the I'm a Boss freestyle in October, which would use the legendary beat from Meek Mill's song by the same name. In August, Durk would also release his first mixtape, titled after his song I'm a Hitter, hosted by DJ Twin. Durk's rap career would truly begin to flourish during 2011, the same time as the entire Chicago drill scene was beginning to pop off in the city, with artists like King Louie, Chief Keef, E-Day, S-Dot, FBG Duck, Bo Deal, Lil Reese, and Lil Durk leading the charge. But 2011 wasn't only good times for Durk, as many developments would be going down in the streets, and in July, he would end up losing a person that was not only important to him, but also the entirety of the D-Town set, as an 18-year-old Tay-Ski, or Tay-Tay, real name Davonte Childress, was gunned down in D-Town's hood. Like Lil Mo on Lamron's side, Tay-Ski would become known as one of the first major losses for D-Town, and they would be so impacted by his passing, they would rename their hood Tay-Town, also known as TTE, which also means Threats to Everybody, or Tay-Town Entertainment. In his mixtape I'm a Hitter, that was released about a month after Tay-Ski's death, Durk himself would have a tribute song towards him titled Tay-Ski Crazy. Interestingly, unlike many other murders in Chicago, this one would eventually actually be solved, and two people would end up being charged and found guilty, Antoine Reynolds and Marlon Boyce, both alleged members of a GD set called Shields, hailing from 57th and Shields. After Tay's murder, Lamron and Tay-Town would understandably be thirsty for revenge, and they would allegedly get that revenge the following year, when a member of the Shields named Travis Henry was shot and killed while sitting in his car in the Shields hood. Just like Tay-Town, Shields would pay tribute to their fallen friend by renaming their hood Travis World, whilst also claiming to be TTEK, or Tay-Town Killers. It would take 2 years for the police to finally find a suspect, but in 2014 they would charge a man for the murder of Travis, this man being none other than OTF DD, real name DeAndre Wilson, who was already back then one of Lil Durk's closest friends. However, by 2023, after almost a decade of fighting these charges, OTF DD would end up beating the case and walking away a free man. But back to 2011, Durk would find himself in trouble with the law once again, when he would be arrested in October for an aggravated UU.
Makes sense. So much sense. Truth be in the little details, man. They did this. What's that too? I got you later.
Or
I got you later.
Unlawful use of a weapon, as he was caught trying to hide his gun and flee from the police. However, the most interesting part about this arrest is the fact that the police were already looking for Durk due to an investigative alert with probable cause to arrest. Years later, rumors would begin to circulate online that the reason why not only Durk, but also Lil Reese were wanted during this time was due to a shooting in late August 2011 where 4 teens had gotten shot in Woodlawn, more specifically in the hood of the infamous set Gyro City. Fortunately, nobody would die in the shooting, although some of the victims would reportedly be taken to hospital in critical condition. Interestingly, the Grim Reaper himself, Lil Reese, would later state in a DJU interview how he had previously shot someone who had been on the same interview couch, with many fans thinking that Reese was talking about this very case and specifically referring to a well-known Jaro City member and infamous internet motormouth FBG Butter, who had indeed been on DJU's couch shortly before Lil Reese's interview.
I said you had a lot of goof on this couch. I've been watching lately.
Goof like who?
I done seen on this trying to pop before.
You did what?
Butter would then return to DJU and seemingly admit that he was indeed one of the victims, whilst even providing possibly a motive for the shooting.
We op shopping. We go on 61st, we catch Lil Durk and Lil Reese inside the store. They scared as hell. But I ain't even know who Lil Reese and Durk was on folks' grade, right? Tutu get on folks' grade. Tutu coming at G. Cause we walked past them. Tutu double back. He on Tuka. On folks' grade, they ain't that scared as hell. They, boy, what's up, y'all with that? On Tuka, Lil B them get right on it. Hey, y'all with that? He with what, boy? Lil Reese getting that with what?
In addition to him saying we done had some goof on the couch, he was like, yeah, I popped one of these that's been on the couch. He ain't putting no names on it, so I guess if the shoe fit where, huh?
The shoe don't fit over here, gang.
But whatever the case may be, Durk would reportedly remain locked up for 3 months, during which time his girlfriend Nicole would give birth to his oldest son, Angelo, in November. Then, at the beginning of 2012, Durk would get back out and hit the streets running, dropping the song Off the Shits with Lil Reese in January 2012, along with a music video filmed by the legendary Chicago cameraman D. Gaines. Meanwhile, Lil Durk's friend Chief Keef's career was also heating up, dropping his music video for a song called 300 also in January, which would begin to make major noise in Chicago. From there, soon Chief Keef would be performing for a packed-out crowd in the legendary nightclub located in Markham in the far south side suburbs of Chicago, with several Lamron members right by his side, including guys like Lil Reese, Ball Out, and Lil Durk himself. Chief Keef would also make a cameo on Lil Durk's music video for the song Jack Boy, released in early March, while Durk had already been present during Keef's 2011 music video for his song Bang. Now, the world didn't know it yet, but the Chicago drill scene was about to go worldwide, as the pressure in this buzzing music scene was building and would eventually explode, influencing the entirety of hip-hop at large. On March the 11th, the blow-up, or should I say glow-up, would finally happen, as Chief Keef would drop Drill's first nationwide hit, the iconic track I Don't Like, together with a music video where Keef and his buddies, including Lamron members Lil Reese and Ball Out, could be seen wildly dancing to the booming beat produced by Young Chop. Building on the success of I Don't Like, Durk would drop a major hit later in March himself, the drill classic L's Anthem, another auto-tuned banger dedicated to his Lamron set. Durk, together with the likes of Chief Keef and Lil Reese, were now the main faces of the new.
If you know, you know. Lil Durk started a whole war off of that. Yup. I'm kind of a drill historian or something. He said, I ain't gonna, y'all go listen to the song, but after that drop, BDK dropped, this dropped, that dropped. It was just a whole bunch of back and forth. Bodies got the dropping after that at a more rapid pace. It was real tit for tat, back for back type of situations. Yep.
New Chicago drill scene, and if you would have seen the potential in Durk at the time, you would have truly gotten yourself a bargain deal for a feature. Price tag at this time being just $1,000. Then in late April, Durk and Reese would both make a
$1,000? I should have got one, and I would have held on to mine though. Yup.
Major announcement when it was revealed that they would both be signing to Def Jam, one of hip-hop's most historically significant record labels. And this was even before Chief Keef would sign his historic $6 million deal with Interscope. But unfortunately, just as Durk's career was about to take off, he would have to go back to jail to finish his sentence for the UUW, keeping him out of the picture for several months, whilst his friends and family were trying to keep his buzz going. Durk would get out in July, this time hitting the streets with a new look and a new hunger, which would culminate in December with his third mixtape, Life Ain't No Joke, featuring big names in the rap game like French Montana, Soulja Boy, and Yo Gotti. However, it would be Durk's next major move that would truly make him a household name, as in May 2013, he would drop the song This Ain't What You Want, together with his most professional looking music video until that point, probably enabled by Def Jam's big production budgets. The music video included cameos from numerous people who would later become infamous in the drill scene, including the 600 rapper Rondo No. 9, who would ultimately end up killing an innocent livery driver the following year, receiving a 39-year sentence, and, bizarrely, Mubu Crump, nicknamed the Chirac scorekeeper by DJ Academics, who would eventually fall out with Durk and his OTF crew before getting killed in 2018, as well as THF Bezu from the THF 46 set, who would be arrested for a murder in 2014, but ultimately ended up beating the charges, going on to release the 2018 street hit, Beat Dat Body, together with another body beater, King Von, who himself at that time had just successfully beaten his own murder charges. But anyway, back to 2013, and unfortunately for Durk, once again, right as his career was about to blow to that next level, he would get in trouble with the law once again, as he was arrested for another UUW in June, after police would catch him red-handed with a stolen Glock, while the local news would report on him as a rapper, quote, associated with Chief Keef. That says a lot about where the kind of discourse around Chicago drill music was at the time. Regardless, Durk would catch a lucky break, as his friend would actually end up signing an affidavit claiming that the gun was actually his, ultimately getting Durk off the hook. But in the meantime, there was another controversy brewing. While Durk would be released on bail later in June, he would almost immediately get into an online beef with none other than Chief Keef himself, as Durk's OTF affiliate Chief Wook would begin tweeting apparent disses towards Keef, accusing him of not being a stand-up friend and refusing to help somebody that needed bail money, despite having signed a $6 million record deal. Durk would actually retweet his friend's posts, whilst also letting his own feelings be known, saying how he's still in the hood and not in the rich suburbs outside of Chicago like Keef was at the time, as well as directly stating how it was F Chief Keef's GBE crew. Naturally, fans at the time would think that the beef was about Durk's bail, which had been 10% of $100,000, an amount that just so happened to be the exact same amount that Keef would post his new four-wheeler costed. These posts actually at the time being seen as subliminal disses towards Lil Durk. However, as 600 member Tay Capone would later explain, the person asking for bail actually would have been an O-Block member called Trey 5.
They came to him about bonding out 5. They came to him about bonding out one of the guys, and Sosa was like, you know, he not spinning them, but he just telling them like, I got you. You know what I'm saying? We gon', you know, Trey 5 was from O-Block. He was fighting a charge. He had bond. I think his bond was like 10K, 7,500 or something they was trying to get from Sosa. And Sosa had been, I guess, to them, spinning them about, you know what I'm saying? Like whatever bond money or whatever they was gonna do for 5, they wanted from Sosa. They felt like Sosa was spinning them. So they felt like they gave him enough time to act on what the situation or whatever, and then once they felt like he was just gonna keep spinning them or lying to him, they felt like they had enough time, where they felt like they had enough aggression built up from the situation to just act, you know.
But at the time, it seemed that this beef was squashed as soon as it had started, with Lil Durk saying during an interview that it was nothing but some words and that the two groups still had love for each other.
A lot of people have been tweeting me to ask you about your relationship with Chief Keef because of things that have been going back and forth. What is the status of that right now?
It was just a little bit of words. It ain't nothing major though.
Yeah, ain't nothing major?
Nah, ain't nothing major.
It ain't nothing that's gonna grow or?
Nah.
Have y'all communicated since then? Have y'all?
Yeah, we had a little few words, just be on some, man, we cooling right now, so.
Yeah.
So I respected that. We respect each other, we got love for each other, so.
Mm-hmm.
You know how Twitter is. You know Twitter gonna take everything the wrong way.
Ain't Twitter a trip?
Meanwhile, Lil Durk's Lamron set was getting some questionable publicity in the local media, as the Chicago Sun-Times would publish a scathing cover story about the gang in November 2013, calling the set Lamron Englewood's public enemy #1. And the article would go in depth on Lamron's alleged illegal activities, which according to police included not only shootings and murders, but also drug sales, and even a large counterfeiting ring that produced fake driving licenses. However, at this point in time, the article was only focusing on Chief Keef's connection to the set, and it wouldn't mention Lil Durk at all. Once again, just showing that difference in fame between these two at that point in time. Also in November, Durk would experience another major loss when his good friend Pluto, real name Patrick Walker, would lose his life under strange circumstances, reportedly getting shot by a friend from the TYMB set whilst out driving in his car. The incident allegedly being an accident, but one that would eventually sour the relationship between Lamron and TYMB, with Durk later rapping in his song titled Crossroads how Pluto would still be alive if he hadn't been out hanging with the wrong strangers. Behind the scenes though, things between Lil Durk and Chief Keef apparently weren't all good, and in 2014, things would go all the way left when some of Chief Keef's old friends from O Block would also get involved in the beef, with several incidents taking place that year. First, in March, there would be a shooting at Chief Keef's manager's house, which allegedly was a robbery that his old friends were involved in. Then in June, Keef would take it to social media, accusing his old friend Boss Top from O Block of breaking into his house while he was in court fighting his own charges, and stealing numerous items including designer clothes, jewelry, and even his daughter's clothing, earning Boss Top ridiculous nicknames like Broke Top and the Diaper Bandit amongst Chief Keef fans. At the time, controversial commentary would come from a young DJ Academics, who at this point was only just starting his YouTube journey with his War in Chirac series.
It's your boy DJ Academics, and now, as the Chirac Civil War wages on, and let me get my in order. Let me see. We have a named Boss Top who was Chief Keef's protege. He was supposed to be the protege savage to Baphomet. Now, I'm not sure why these two fools fell out, but it wouldn't surprise me if it was over maybe some Reggie, maybe some sneakers, and you know my favorite reason for to start beefing in Chirac, sneak dissing. Or it might have been over apparently might have been over some song titles or something to do with another named OD who died, who influenced the whole name of Block, aka O Block. Allegedly, Boss Top and his robbed Chief Keef and another GB member called Capo for their chains, including this notable Jesus piece that Capo owns. They stole KK, which KK is his daughter's little baby. They stole her baby clothes, huh? They stole her baby clothes out of her room. They stole detergent? Whoa. They even stole deodorant. Once you're stealing deodorant, detergent, diapers, and baby clothes, there's something wrong with you. That's how that name Broke Top probably originated. But if you're out here stealing baby apparel, like you at the Baby Gap, it's over.
Now, Durk would seemingly let his stance be known a little while after this in the song 0 to 300, where he raps how he heard that a rapper close to him had gotten their chain stolen, and that they're trying to pay his friend Boss Top to get it back. The beef between Durk and Keef would seemingly continue on and off for years to come, although it would never escalate further and mainly stayed out of the public's view. However, at the time, Durk would also have bigger problems than just rap beef, as in May 2014, his cousin OTF Nunu, aka Newski, who was also Durk's new up-and-coming artist, would be brutally murdered in his car while he was waiting for Durk, who had gone into a nearby store. Durk's ops then would use pictures that were taken of Durk grieving at the scene to mercilessly troll him online. But Durk's problems wouldn't end there, because in November 2014, he would once again get arrested and charged with another UUW, this now being his third gun case. But interestingly, this arrest would be the very same one where THF Bezu would be arrested and charged for a murder. But it wouldn't only be Bezu who would get slapped with murder charges. By the end of 2014, King Von from O Block was also sat in
I'm saying what's good for the goose is good for the gander, right? Alright.
jail awaiting trial over his murder case concerning a young man named Malcolm Stuckey. And in January 2015, Durk himself would even end up charged with murder too, after one of the guns found during their arrest would be matched to a 2013 murder of an innocent woman named Shanida Lawrence, who was shot whilst attending a gathering in Harris Memorial Park following a funeral of a family member, this park being near the hood of one of Lamron's oldest ops, the Brick Squad. However, the murder charge would eventually end up getting dropped, and even with Durk seemingly admitting ownership of the guns, where he dropped the legendary one-liner, "I got those pipes, cause MFs always be trying to take my bands," he would seemingly also get away scot-free with the UUW charges. But while Durk had yet again dodged a major bullet that could have ended his career, that career would actually hit somewhat of a rough patch during these years that followed the meteoric rise of the Chicago drill scene, as Durk would seemingly go through a long period where he would struggle to actually find his sound and get motion in music. His time at Def Jam would arguably lead to some not so successful experimentations, such as his association with French Montana's Coke Boys crew, or his relationship with the Detroit rapper Dage Loaf, which appeared as a publicity move for Durk in an effort to move him away from the drill sound to a more pop.
No, I think they would have a real official relationship. Now, how things transpired and went, now, I don't know about that, but I think they would have something official, you know?
Oriented approach to music, as even Durk would seemingly admit in his 2016 song Like Me. But in 2016, Durk would end up parting ways with Def Jam, and while he certainly still had a sizable audience, it was clear that his career trajectory was pointing downwards, and this must have been a moment where Durk was under immense pressure to produce something that would get his name hot again and get his music respected in the streets once again after trying to go pop. And it just so happened that around this time, someone from Durk's old circle would get back into the streets, ready to put his crazy story out there for the whole world to hear. And that someone was none other than King Von.
I ain't gonna lie. I feel like Trap Lore is missing just a few key elements. Durk was remixing heavy and dropping it on World Star. If y'all remember that 2017, before Vine got out, for sure. But around that time, he was remixing. What he remix? No Auto Durk. That was a hit too. Yeah.
Lil Durk's most famous OTF signee, King Von, is often described as one of Chicago drill's best storytellers, and he's seen as probably the genre's most authentic voice. Von's real life truly matched the gritty and violent themes that he was rapping about, and in many ways, King Von
Pirate shit.
was a larger-than-life character, a rapper that arguably single-handedly brought the Chicago drill genre back and took gangster rap to daring new heights. But also, unfortunately, in the streets, King Von was a prolific killer, with a rumored 7 murders under his belt, something that I've covered extensively on this channel in my long video, King Von, Rap's First Serial Killer. If you want to learn about those murders, go and watch that video, but in this video, I'll be digging much deeper into Von's relationship with Durk. As I mentioned earlier, King Von originally grew up in a hood called Killer Ward, located in the Auburn Gresham neighborhood, but he would later move to the infamous Parkway Gardens, better known as O Block, a hood that's been affiliated with Durk's Lamron set for a long time, when it was still known as Wick City, that meant wild, insane, and crazy, with both sets united by the fact that they rep the 64th Street or 064. Durk and Von's friendship goes back long before Von's rap career, with Reddit rumors suggesting that they actually knew each other since the late 2000s or early 2010s, while Von himself would state in an interview,
My stream is a feeling-based stream, so when I feel like it, I stream. When I don't, that means I don't feel like it. I'm probably doing something else that's important to the brand. I'm a one-man show, really a two-man show sometimes, but for the most part, when it comes to ideas and stuff, one-man show. As in saving the VOD, FN. You figure out what that means. Yep.
Interview that they'd known each other since Von was in the 6th or 7th grade.
How'd you guys meet?
Growing up, same area, hoods, you know how that go.
Do you remember the first time you met him?
The first time, nah. We always be outside, deep as hell, so probably the first time.
Or maybe what age?
Around like 6th grade or something, 7th grade.
But didn't go to the same school?
Nah, I'm younger.
What we do know for sure is that Durk was known to hang out with members of O Block during the early 2010s, as can be seen from Chief Keef's August 2011 music video for the song Bang, where Durk can be seen with his Lamron partner, Lil Reese, supporting Sosa on his budding rap career. One story that underscores the bond between King Von and Lil Durk is from 2014, when Lil Durk supposedly lent King Von his watch to take to the prom of his then girlfriend at the time, a girl called Mena Red, who's actually the sister of Von's old friend, the rapper Tay 600,
They real deal twinsies. I'm talking about face structured the same. She him in the wig. He her with a fade. It's kind of disturbing. It's for real. Yup.
Nowadays better known as Tay Capone. In an interview with Karen Civil, Durk would recall the story, explaining how Von would get locked up the very next day.
You know, we've been like locked in, like since we was younger. My brother Vernie put us into him, and we just started like locking in real heavy. And then, I think we was going on prom. I had gave him my watch to go on prom. He go on prom, he locked up the next day with it. So when he came out, it was like, oh yeah, we locked in. So that was crazy.
According to online rumors, the reason for Von's arrest would be a shooting that Von did on the way to prom with Lil Durk's very good friend Lil Varney. And there's actually a picture of King Von toting a pistol in a white prom suit that still circulates online. Now this was actually a shooting too that Von would later allegedly talk about in his song Don't Wanna Be Me, when he raps how the police would catch him right after the shooting, but Mena Red would seemingly attempt to claim their guns and take the case for them. Durk would then go to his Twitter and tell his followers to write to Von in jail, referring to him as his brother and saying how Von's gonna be home real soon. But that wasn't the case, as Von would eventually get charged with the May 2014 murder of a young man named Malcolm Stuckey. Von would later reveal that while he was locked up for this murder, Durk was one of the few people consistently taking care of him.
When I got locked up for the drama, like Durk was the main one supporting me, to helping me. So we got even closer when I was just in jail. Then I got out. He flew me out there with him, got the rapping. So me and Durk, you know, we like.
Von would eventually beat his charges and get released in December 2017, and Durk would almost immediately take him under his wing and out of the reckless street life that nearly destroyed his life. And soon after, King Von would sign to Lil Durk's OTF collective, and inspired by Durk's success, he too would turn to rap as a means of changing his life.
Before they finish, I'm saying these two artists from Chicago who signed under us, signed the OTF. So,
okay, so that's Book right
Book
there?
600 and King Von. So,
and they signed to you?
Yeah, actually, they got their own face and name, so they don't need me.
Oh, they don't need you.
Nah,
They don't need you. So
Yeah, we off on that.
Durk would waste no time helping Von make his mark on the rap game, bringing him to the popular radio show The Breakfast Club shortly after Von had begun dropping his first songs, with Durk describing him as somebody with a gripping story to tell, perhaps smoothly hinting to his secret past as a 7-time killer in his neighborhood.
King Von, V-O-N,
King Von,
K-I-N-G.
Made you want to sign King Von?
Cause he got a whole story behind him. You know what I'm saying? He from O Block.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? That should speak for itself. Nah. But you know what I'm saying? He just real. You know what I'm saying? His music, he just real. It just with him. You know what I'm saying? It's my brother, twin. I've been with him his whole journey in jail. And I ain't gonna lie, like he ain't never say nothing about rapping.
The interview actually featured an iconic moment where Charlemagne asked Von his story, and Von proudly boasted that he just beat a body in 2 attempts, even hinting that he did indeed do the murder and only got off due to Lil Durk helping him with an expensive lawyer.
Story, what's your story?
My story. I just got out of jail for just beat a body in 2 attempts. Like, December? I just got out, started rapping.
So you was in jail for 2 murders?
Yeah, 1 murder and 2 attempts. I just beat.
How you beat that?
What you mean? I
mean, you didn't do it clearly. But I mean, like, how? I mean, it's love to throw young black men in jail.
Like jury, like, you know. Like, you know, jury, yeah, look, you know.
That's expensive too, to take it to trial and all of that.
Yeah.
Hey man, if your brother got on $500,000 worth of jury, he gonna have a lawyer.
Von's breakout moment would come just weeks later in December 2018 with the song Crazy Story, a vivid depiction of a robbery gone wrong. The song's powerful storytelling captivated listeners and amassed over 100,000 views on its first day, which shocked even Von himself. But their shared success wasn't without turbulence, as it seemed that Von would bring the Chicago street mindset back to Lil Durk's life, who at this point had already seemingly moved on to bigger and better, more positive things, living the rapper lifestyle all the way out in Atlanta. In February 2019, not even a year after Von had signed to OTF and begun dropping music, Durk and Von would allegedly take part in an incident that would land them an attempted murder.
So I'm tripping. That No Auto Durk probably dropped in 2019. It was after Von got out. I'm tripping. 2019 sound a little bit more correct for that.
Case in Atlanta. Allegedly, an altercation would take place outside of the Varsity restaurant, where Durk and Von, along with their friend and fellow OTF affiliate THF Bezu, as well as another Chicago rapper AAB Hella Bands, would allegedly shoot and rob a man by the name of Alexander Witherspoon. Police would claim that Durk was caught on camera during the incident firing from his custom Jeep Trackhawk with a large 300 printed on the side. But the surveillance footage of the incident was seemingly from an angle that left much ambiguity to who had ultimately been the one shooting.
This is the car and this is the SUV.
Okay.
So you're going to see it in just 1 second.
So the car with the lights on was also...
That's the car that the gentleman was in. Like I said, if you're looking at it, hey guys, look. So in a minute you're about to see it.
Okay.
So I can't tell where he came up from, but you're gonna see the green shoes in a minute. So look at right here. This is the car. The SUV behind it is the SUV. And all those girls are talking in the SUV. And in 1 second you're gonna see the guy get out tussling. It looks like they're in the back tussling or something, but you really can't tell what's going on. But if you see inside of that car, you see all that tussling.
Right.
So this is the guy. That's the guy with the green shoes. He's trying to push the door and all that. So I don't know if he has a firearm too, but I know he falls a couple of times.
Okay, there he is.
That's him. That's him steady running. He's steady running, and then you'll see him fall out in front of us. That car was shooting in that one too.
As weeks passed following the incident, Lil Durk and King Von continued their lives as if nothing had happened, while Atlanta police methodically pieced together their investigation. And in May 2019, the facade would come crashing down as King Von was ultimately arrested, with dramatic footage showing over 30 Chicago police officers swarming O Block to take him into custody.
Stay on the ground. Gang, just don't resist. Don't resist. Gang, why y'all grab me? What the?
Other footage would show King Von in the precinct after his arrest. Shortly after, Durk voiced his support on Twitter, simply writing, "Free Von." But then another tragedy would strike just a week later, when AAB Hella Bands, real name Amir Golston, was gunned down outside of a Miami nightclub in the early hours of the morning. AAB Hella Bands, who's from the so-called Wild 100s in the far south side of Chicago, had allegedly killed another rapper in 2015 who went by the name of Chris Smokes and belonged to a set called LSG 109th, also known as Kush Cowboys or T3 Gang. The LSGs, or Lynchman Sircon Gangsters, have a long history, allegedly going back all the way to the original Supreme Gangsters that preceded the Gangster Disciples, as well as the Black Gangster Disciple Nation alliance between the GDs and BDs that was formed between Larry Hoover and David Barksdale. Allegedly, 4 years after Hella Bands had killed Chris, a member of the LSG by the name of Austin Hall would fly to Miami to kill Hella Bands as revenge for his fallen friend, catching him in front of a busy nightclub, with the assassination being caught on video surveillance.
The Miami Beach police are releasing some surveillance video they say captures the shooter as he tries to run away. Newly released video obtained from the Miami Beach Police Department shows people running for their lives on South Beach. Moments later, this man is seen running diagonally across Washington Avenue. Miami Beach police now say they believe this is the man who opened fire, killing 24-year-old Amir Golston, better known as rapper AAB Hella Bands, and sending another man to the hospital.
A Miami Beach spokesperson would later reveal that Hella Bands had been wanted in Atlanta for the attempted murder and robbery case involving Durk and Von.
The victim in this case, it was wanted out of Atlanta PD. Actually, he had an active warrant for attempted murder, armed robbery.
Meanwhile, according to the Chicago Police Department's website, 2 days after Hella Bands' death, THF Bezu would be arrested in Chicago as a fugitive from justice, allegedly tied to the same Atlanta shooting. However, despite Von and Durk's legal troubles, their music careers had flourished. Just weeks after Von's arrest for the shooting and robbery incident, the remix for his hit song Crazy Story featuring Lil Durk would drop, becoming a massive hit, even landing the track on the Billboard Global 200, being sat at a whopping 122 million views. 1 week after the release of this remix, Lil Durk took to Twitter to announce that he would be turning himself in for the same crimes the following day. But before doing so, he would actually sit down for a TV interview in his lawyer's office, where he claimed his innocence and vowed that he had moved past the street gang life of his youth.
You're about to surrender as we speak.
Yeah.
How come?
Because I have nothing to hide. Like, I have nothing to run from.
A rapper's ride. Soon after we spoke, Durk Banks, a.k.a. the performer Lil Durk, emerged from his lawyer's space and headed toward an SUV. Soon after that, he stepped out in front of the Fulton County Jail. One of his lawyers says he was swiftly taken into custody there, having swiftly flown back to Atlanta after he found out he was wanted.
We found out we had a warrant. We were actually on tour. Once I heard, I immediately came back.
He's willing to turn himself in and take care of what he needs to take care of.
We immediately canceled the tour.
He's got a multi-million-dollar salary music career going.
Did you do it? Did you shoot this man? Did you commit the other crimes of which you're accused?
No.
Banks indicated his lawyer told him not to discuss the specific facts of the case, but he confirmed what his attorney Manny Aurora said, that as a youth, Banks was drawn into the gang life that surrounded him in Chicago, but that's not who he is today.
I had a bad background, just growing up as a child, about father being incarcerated for 25 years, 26 years. So I had a rough past, but like me moving to Atlanta, I just thought that just changed my whole identity of thinking.
Not long after this, Durk and Von would appear together in what would become an iconic court appearance, solidifying their image as the evil twins who weren't just rappers from the same area, but a dynamic duo of gangsters ready to get shooting at a moment's notice.
Banks released a single, Turn Myself In, the day he turned himself in. It's gotten almost 7 million views. The prosecutor charging this wasn't just a robbery and shooting, but gang activity. She put a Chicago detective on the stand to testify that Banks and Bennett are members of Chicago gangs.
Is it possible to continue your affiliation and even commit crimes when you move out of Chicago if you're in a different city or if a different area?
Yes, ma'am.
Following some intense legal back and forths, which included testimonies from Lil Durk's pastor and record label, Durk would be granted a $250,000 bond in June 2019.
Lil Durk's pastor and record label all testified on his behalf, and at the end of it, the judge determined that the rapper is not a flight risk and granted him a $250,000 bond.
Celebrating his release, he would hop on Instagram Live, visibly relieved as he ran out of jail.
There you go. Be out here. Be out here. Yo, I'm getting fired with the motherfucking possible, yeah? They talking 15 minutes, I'm talking 30. I'm sitting there. All right.
Mm-hmm. Oh, we were still waiting on the driver to come up. Just hop in, we waiting on the driver. Hey, Tim, hey, you can just stay right here.
Another car is about to pull up. No.
back.
Hey, thank everybody for the love and support.
Yeah, definitely appreciate everybody for rocking out with us, supporting us, believing us, you know?
During the live session, Durk would tease fans by mentioning that King Von would be coming home the very next day.
Von will be home tomorrow.
Shortly afterward, Durk would proceed to do an interview on his time in jail from his home.
Then when you get in type of that, in a predicament like this, you would sit back and be like, damn, like why I ain't never do this more? Why I ain't never do this with my kids more? Why I ain't do this with my pops more or my mama? You know what I'm saying? So it just set me down, so I just understand life more.
Von's release would come a few days later, after he was granted a bail of $300,000. However, one of the conditions of their release was that Durk and Von could not be in contact with one another, this even applying to promo runs and club appearances, with the judge essentially breaking up the evil twins for good. For real, these two childhood friends couldn't speak to each other for a pretty extended period in this time. This is something that Von would actually comment on during his March 2020 interview on No Jumper.
Isn't you and Durk, your probation or whatever is such that you're not supposed to be associating with other people who are part of the case? So is it like a thing where you're not supposed to be around each other?
Yeah, so yeah, me and Durk, we only see each other like at court, if we got court.
So even when you're on tour, you can't really be around each other too much?
Nah, we can't. Hell no.
Damn, that's fucked up.
Yeah, ugly.
Is that strange, like just to have the court basically just saying you can't be cool with one of your best friends?
Yeah, because you know it's like, I started out with him, like he started up for me and everything, like how people get to notice me. He bringing me to his interviews and pulling up a chair right here and letting me sit right there.
Right.
Like even though it's just like it's supposed to say if he came No Jump, he'd have a chair right here for me. You be like, what the f going on?
Right.
Nah, this is my artist. You see what I'm saying?
But all that stuff is out for right now, which is unfortunate.
That's what I'm saying. So they just say we caught the case and they removed me for everything. Like in all my shows, I only was having shows because of Durk.
Right.
Like he pulling me on his. You see what I'm saying? So I'm only going places with Durk. I'm only doing. So now it was time to. They put the case. You can't be around Durk no more. You can't move. So now I was only in the studio with Durk. I was on it. So now it's do everything on your own. You just gotta do it. So I just had to.
But while Durk and Von couldn't spend time together anymore, there was someone else who was seemingly occupying much of Von's time. As shortly after achieving rap stardom in 2018, King Von had begun dating the rapper Asian Doll, aka Asian DeBrat, or simply Asian. The two lovebirds had first crossed paths at a celebrity basketball game where Von had tagged along with Lil Durk. And eventually, Von convinced her to go on a date, borrowing Durk's Trackhawk in an attempt to impress her. This Trackhawk actually being the exact one that was allegedly later used in the attempted murder case in Atlanta.
She sent the number in. I was saying she live in Atlanta. Now, I go to the crib. Now, Durk out of town. He left his truck in my car. He got a Trackhawk. That was raw. So I got Durk's car today. So I go pick up. I tell her I'm going to take her out.
From here, the couple soon became inseparable, frequently being seen together online, and Von would officially announce their relationship during a joint interview with Lil Durk on Shade 45.
King Von, I'm saying he in a relationship too.
Shout out Agent there.
Okay.
Yeah, he go in, yeah.
You heard it here, man.
I ain't gonna lie, that's what stuff you do to the homie for real.
He looking at you like, come on, man.
However, Von's legal problems didn't take a back seat. Even while out on bail stemming from the Varsity incident, Von's fiery personality would lead to more issues. He would actually allegedly end up briefly in jail again after getting into a studio fight with somebody who'd apparently disrespected Asian Doll, calling her a...
Tell him what happened to my hand, bro.
Folks overbeat his...
Call my girlfriend
But in the end, a relationship between these two would get rocky, and it would be another rapper who would get himself mixed up in their drama. This rapper, of course, being Baton Rouge gangster rap superstar NBA Youngboy. Now, if you want to understand Youngboy's complicated and violent backstory, I've made a 6-hour deep dive on his life, so you can go and watch that for all the context if you don't know nothing about Youngboy. But to understand the origin of this beef between Lil Durk's OTF and Youngboy's NBA, or Never Broke Again collective, which would eventually end up leaving both Von and Quando Rondo's cousin Lil PAB dead, and Durk fighting for his life behind bars, we have to go all the way back to where it started, and it all started with Von. In late 2017, Lil Durk had dropped the song My Side that featured NBA Youngboy. In the song, Durk would acknowledge that he and Youngboy were a cut above the rest when it came to the rap game, and that they were setting the bar for the others. Durk was clearly a big fan of Youngboy, as well as fellow singing Southern street rapper Quando Rondo, who was signed to Youngboy's NBA label, as Durk would actually name both of them in an Instagram post where he listed his favorite 50 rappers of all time. Furthermore, in my opinion, the influence of Youngboy and Quando's style, a very unique approach of singing and using auto-tune to tell stories from the streets, really resonated with Durk and inspired him to keep making more of that same auto-tuned pain music. Youngboy, Quando Rondo, and OTF had a seemingly amicable relationship up to this point. In February 2019, Von and Quando were seen hanging out backstage at a show and filming a skit where Quando actually would diss Von's ops from 63rd Street in Chicago.
I'm saying though, they are 63rd dirty. I'm talking about, hey, listen, though, man. on 64, y'all 63rd over there smoking crack.
Things seemed really positive between these two groups, but that was all about to change when a year and a half later, in early 2019, Von would hop on IG Live to call out Youngboy, claiming that he had lies, or cap, in his raps.
Youngboy talking about on this song, bro.
What?
You talking crazy on this.
Oh, yeah?
He ain't even like that.
Oh!
On this man. Cap. You got cap in your raps.
However, in August 2019, King Von would surprisingly tweet a welcome home message to Youngboy following his release from jail. So despite their growing tensions, there appeared to be a brief sense of camaraderie between these groups. Around the same time, Von would actually begin incorporating some of Youngboy's rhetoric into his own style, further blurring the lines between respect and rivalry. In October, DJ Academics would stir the pot by tweeting that NBA Youngboy was the realest street rapper to ever emerge since the original Chirac drill era, challenging fans to name another artist who really lived the life they rapped about. Without hesitation, Lil Durk would respond with a suggestion of his own, King Von. In February 2020, King Von suggested that he and NBA Youngboy had actually worked on music together, even calling on Youngboy publicly to release the track on Twitter. In a post that seemed to hint that Youngboy had been holding onto the song and blocking its release, in May, Durk would release his 5th studio album, Just Cause Y'all Waited Too, a sequel to a mixtape that he had dropped back in 2018. This album also containing the song Turn Myself In, which had been originally released in June 2019, just before Durk had been locked up for the alleged incident in Atlanta. The album would debut at number 5 and later became his first album to reach the top 2 on the Billboard 200. But as Durk celebrated his album rollout, King Von would be out instigating the beef and prodding Youngboy. And in August, he would tweet a cryptic message to his fans, claiming that they wouldn't believe the woman he had just made a hit song with. Later that same day, photos surfaced online of Von with Jania Michelle, the mother of NBA Youngboy's child, sparking a social media frenzy. Von
I ain't gonna lie, that guy King Von, man, he played a lot of mind games, man. He real twisted individuals, you ask me. Man, that whole thing with the KI and stuff, when I first heard about it, it blew my mind, for real. Yeah. I was blue.
Escalated the drama by insinuating on Twitter that he had a sex tape with Jania and hinting that he could release something that could make someone stop claiming their kids. Jania quickly denied the rumors, attempting to shut down the speculation. However, leaked messages suggested that Von's actions were less about Jania and more about getting under Asian Doll's skin, revealing that his supposed collaboration with Jania was an effort to provoke Asian Doll, who he'd apparently split up with at this point. Asian would quickly dismiss Von's claims as lies, asserting that she had found direct messages between Von and Jania before they split up, just adding more fuel to the fire.
Oh, nah, I've seen it. Them DMs, I've been seeing it. She's lying, I've been seeing it. Been on dick, I've been seeing it. None of this not a surprise. This is just on the internet right now, you know what I'm saying? I've been new.
The very next day, NBA Youngboy would respond with an Instagram post aimed squarely at Von, and in a shocking move, Youngboy captioned the post with a vow to make sure that his son sleeps with King Von's daughter, turning the trolling into a deeply personal and slightly weird attack. Amid the escalating tension, Durk and Von's longtime friend, from back in the days when OTF was something more than just a rap collective, Lil Reese, would enter the beef too, tweeting a bold threat that he planned to beat up Quando Rondo, a close friend of Youngboy and an artist on his NBA label, to which Rondo would respond by saying that Reese and the Chicago rappers in general wouldn't do nothing.
Man, this gang won't do nothing with me.
At this point, the beef between Von and Youngboy had now broadened to include numerous people from both sides, and in September 2020, King Von would tweet what appeared to be a direct threat towards Quando Rondo and NBA Youngboy, saying that he hoped God had space for both of them. The following day, Quando Rondo's right-hand man, Lil Tim, would fire back on Twitter, warning Von and the other Chicago rappers to think twice before messing with Quando. But Von, unfazed, would respond the day after, saying that he'd been fighting his whole life and he could punch hard as hell. Around this time, Von would also begin publicly claiming that he was single and too focused on his career to be in a relationship. However, he would still be spotted at a club with Youngboy's baby mama, Jania Michelle.
So just like 2 days ago, Jania was spotted in the club with King Von's sister, and King Von was also there as well. You couldn't see them together, but you know they were together. If you know, you know. 2020 was truly King Von's year. He had dropped 2 successful mixtapes back-to-back, Grandson Volume 1 and LeVon James, and he was priming himself for a blockbuster debut with the much-anticipated project Welcome to O Block coming. But also, by October, Von had shifted
shifted his focus to promoting his new song, Mine Too, a track that was subtly dissing NBA Youngboy as he would rap about how somebody's girl was Von's too, whilst also mentioning having beef in the NOLA, or New Orleans and Louisiana, the latter being Youngboy's home state. Also in October, Von would tweet that once a girl lets another man in, he would no longer want her, leading fans to speculate that he was referencing Asian Doll, possibly moving on, and rumours would then begin swirling that Von's ex-Asian Doll had actually met up with Youngboy, a claim that emerged after DMs from people in Youngboy's camp leaked. Meanwhile, Durk was going on the musical run of a lifetime. His momentum as a rapper was truly back, partly off the back of the street credibility that he'd received from his collaboration with Von, landing a blockbuster collaboration with rap's biggest star Drake in the form of the song Laugh Now, Cry Later, dropping in August, a track that swiftly went to number 2 on the Billboard charts. And Durk was gearing up to drop his 6th studio album, The Voice, releasing its title track in September 2020, while NBA Youngboy, on the other hand, was on a generational run in the rap game, releasing back-to-back #1 albums and flooding the market with music in a way that proved that you could provide quality and quantity at the very pinnacle of the rap game. He was also catching cases left, right and center, and he was certainly one of the realest, if you will, gangster rappers to have ever done it, especially at that level at this point. But Youngboy was also still being petty and entertaining the beef. He would actually release a snippet in early November of a song that he had apparently recorded with Asian Doll with the threatening title Meet the Reaper, clearly taking a deadly hint towards this beef with Von, a dig which Von would respond to by tweeting that the song was trash and claiming that his and Janeer's collaboration was much better. He would then even hint at having compromising pictures of Janeer, but then later backtracked, saying that he was only joking and that if Asian Doll was happy, then he's happy too. But the song was still trash. In an interview with DJ Academics, Von would downplay the feud with Youngboy, saying that the internet was blowing it out of proportion.
People told me you and Youngboy was beefing or something like that. You said something about what happened, Von? What's going on with you, man?
Media frenzy as tributes and reactions poured in. Durk took to Instagram to mourn his close friend, sharing a heartfelt post where he simply told Von he loved him. But while Durk was grieving, unfortunately, the internet wouldn't be kind to him, as in the midst of Durk mourning the loss of his friend, who was known as one of Chicago's most feared gangsters, who never let a violation go unchecked, online, the phrase "slide for Von" would become synonymous with Lil Durk amongst fans of drill music, popularized by none other than rainbow-head rapping snitch 6ix9ine. The trolling and troll-looking rapper commented on Lil Durk's tribute post for Von how Durk had first lost Newski and now Von, and that he was still just rapping, telling him to go and pick up a gun instead. 6ix9ine would continue his provocations during an appearance on DJ Academics' Off the Record podcast, accusing Durk of knowing who killed Von and doing nothing about it.
They know the exact that put 10 bullets in King Von and he died there by himself. Why nobody slid for that? I don't see you on Instagram saying, yo, go slide for that man. Y'all know what y'all saying? Yo, y'all want the
I'm gonna be real with you. Hold on. Hold on. Wait, hold on. Hold on.
Why this not shooting?
Let me be real with you. Let me be real with you. I don't see you on Instagram say, yo, Durk, go slide for your man. I discovered King Von.
No, I don't want to talk about King Von.
So I don't know no politics.
And listen, why is this not sliding on?
How you know?
Fans would quickly adopt the "Slide for Von" slogan, using it relentlessly to troll Durk in the months following Von's death. Durk would respond to the "Slide for Von" narrative, stating that none of them slid for their people, so that they should stop talking about killing to him. However, at this point, it seemed like every post that Durk made on social media would become the target for comments demanding retribution for Von. People on Reddit would hold polls asking whether or not they believed that Durk would slide for Von, with the results showing a near even split, 53% voting no and 47% expecting vengeance. On December the 24th, 2020, Durk would release his much-awaited album, The Voice, which he would dedicate to King Von. The album would peak at number 2 on the Billboard Hot 100, and on January the 10th, 2021, he would tease a deluxe version that would later drop on January the 29th, 2021 with 12 additional tracks. Despite the losses that he was suffering, Durk's career still had an incredible momentum like he'd never seen before. During 2021, he would be featured on multiple hit songs such as No More Parties remix by Coi Leray, which reached number 26 on the Hot 100, Every Chance I Get by DJ Khaled, which hit number 20, No Return by Polo G that hit number 26, Sharing Locations with Meek Mill peaking at number 22, Jonah with Kanye West hitting number 27, In the Bible, another collab with Drake that hit number 7, and Who Wants Smoke with Nardo Wick going number 17 on the Billboard Hot 100. Durk was hot, and he was quickly becoming a fan favorite in the rap game. Genuinely, it was this hot run that made him the voice of the streets. However, despite all the success he was having in the music industry, clearly being at a loss in the streets was still having an impact on Durk's mindset, and he would even hint at the way that he was thinking in his new music. On October the 15th, 2021, Durk would release the emotionally charged track Me Off, where Durk made it clear that he couldn't find peace until revenge was achieved, before following through with a promise of retribution. The music video for the song would show Durk far away from the studios and clubs of Atlanta, but actually back in his home turf in Taytown's hood on 59th and Princeton. But in the meantime, rapper NLE Chopper would say in an interview with DJ Academics that he had actually tried to convince Durk not to retaliate musically.
When after this happened with with Vaughn and all that, all that was happening, bro. I was the one really in bro ear, like, know what I'm saying? I don't want to be this person in your ear to be like, know what I'm saying? Let this chill, like, don't move on it. But bro, I'm gonna be that person to let you know, bro, like, this cycle we in as black men is a never ending cycle. Cause at the end of the day, bro, we one person, we got one conscious mind. That's why when I'm thinking something, they might be thinking the same thing. Cause at the end of the day, out of us being black, white, Hispanic, whatever, we are a human being and we are one race. So when you do something, this why I know what's up with life now. This why I don't do nothing out of spite to people.
Only a month later though, Lil Durk would drop the song Aha, a fiery diss that instantly went viral, amassing over 100 million views on YouTube. And in the song, Lil Durk would directly address the feud, opening with a bar that made it clear that he wasn't about to take NLE Chopper's advice about not responding to Von disses, instead telling his goons to go and pick up a gun. Unfortunately, as we all know now from the alleged indictment, it seemed that despite the promise of his rising rap career, Durk was completely consumed by seeking revenge for Von. And in the years that followed, Durk would seemingly set into motion a series of events that would ultimately see him and his friends in jail, fighting for their lives and freedom. But interestingly, whilst this was already going on, and before Von had even been killed, it would appear that behind the scenes, when Von was alive, he, perhaps with the assistance of Lil Durk, was continuing to wage war on their shared enemies, without a care for the survival of his budding rap career. Only a few months before Von died, there would be another prominent murder in Chicago, seemingly orchestrated by Von and carried out by a number of people who were close friends of both Von and Durk. And with Von being dead by the time these charges came to light, Durk would end up being the biggest name associated with the murder. And with Von's death still going unavenged at this point, Durk would seemingly continue to carry the torch, doing exactly what Von did, using his music and lyrics as a megaphone to tell the world about him and his crew's murder.
Hold on, chat. Let me play some. Oh my God, what happened to Virgil?
Laying the groundwork for the authorities to build up a picture of Durk and Von as violent kingpins, using their fame and money to have anyone they didn't like killed without a care. And I'm of course talking about the murder of FBG Duck. Before King Von's untimely passing, his rap career was rising rapidly. After the success of Crazy Story, he continued to drop bangers. In February 2020, he released perhaps my favourite song of his, Took Her to the O, a song all about taking an attractive female back to his hood, O Block. However, the music video and narrative for this song had a dark hidden meaning, as Von was somebody who not only allegedly killed people in the gang war, but he was also a relentless troll who thrived on beef. In the video, he would have an actor that actually looked like one of his most hated rivals, FBG Duck, and the video would even depict Von shooting Duck and leaving him dead on the ground. However, this was more than just a fantasy video prodding his rival, because within 6 months of that video that depicted Duck shot dead on the ground being released, it would seem that Von and his closest friends conspired to make that happen in real life, with events unfolding that put all of the surviving shooters behind bars for good, and potentially creating a multi-million-dollar liability for Lil Durk. As everyone following the drill scene likely knows by now, FBG Duck's murder was allegedly part of a long-running beef between two gang sets from the south side of Chicago. Duck's set, STL-EBT, sometimes referred to as 63rd or Tukaville, largely identify as gangster disciples. On the other side is O Block, who are primarily black disciples, this being the set where the majority of Duck's convicted killers hail from. A deadly feud between these two factions, who exist just a stone's throw away from each other, stretches back more than a decade, particularly throughout the 2010s, when this feud would claim the lives of many young men in the area.
No cap. Yeah, I'm talking about whatever this does just depicted is that.
Redditors speculating that at least 10 people lost their lives in this deadly beef. But to understand exactly how Lil Durk became part of this beef, we have to go all the way back to the beginning. Some of the first mentions online about the beef between STL-EBT and O Block, or Wick City as it was known then, date all the way back to the early 2010s, although likely the beef had already started in the late 2000s. However, as already alluded to earlier, this war was never just between these two sets, but rather between numerous gang sets whose affiliations and rivalries were commonly based on their overarching gang identities, these being the Gangster Disciples and the Black Disciples, or the GDs versus the BDs, with sets like O Block, Lamron, 600, Front Street, and TYMB being clicked up on the BD side, while sets like STL, EBT, Gyro City, Taekwon World, MOB, and Brick Squad would form an alliance on the GD side. When it comes to the specific affiliation,
so really the whole time it's a 5v5, we thinking it's just a 1v1, 1v2, 1v3s, and 2v3s and stuff. Nah, it's really 5 on 5.
Between O-Block and Lamron, the prosecutors in the criminal case against FBG Duck's alleged killers would claim that this began in the early 2010s, as testified by one of the cooperators in the case. However, while the rivalry technically existed between all the sets from the two sides, the BDs and the GDs, it was often determined by proximity to other sets. Therefore, the beefs between certain sets were much more fierce than other beefs. Looking at these different sets on the map, it's no surprise then that the beef between sets like O-Block, Front Street, and 600 and TYMB on one side, and STL, EBT, Gyro City, Taekwon World, and MOB on the other side was particularly fierce, as most of these sets were located only a few blocks away from each other. Meanwhile, Durk's set was located in Englewood, which is on the other side of the I-90 and I-94 highways. While technically only about 1.5 miles away from places like O-Block, it was still worlds apart from the Woodlawn and Washington Park neighborhoods where the aforementioned sets were having their beef. And because of this distance, Lamron wasn't really in an active war against sets like Duck's STL EBT, as they were largely consumed by their own local rivalries in Englewood with sets like the Brick Squad. In fact, in March 2011, Lil Durk would feature in the song We Ball, which also featured members of the rap group Buck 20 Brick Boys. One of these members being the rapper Billionaire Black, who's even pictured around Lil Durk at this time. However, Billionaire Black was at this point already heavily affiliated with rival sets like STL, EBT, and Gyro City, and only 2 months later,
never knew them niggas was cool at one point in time. And y'all know this. Lil Durk cousin is Lil Mister. If you ain't know that, come on, just drop some knowledge.
Billionaire Black would make the song E-Day Is You Serious, together with none other than FBG Duck himself, this song being a diss towards the rapper E-Day from the 600 set, who on the other hand was already at this point clicked up with Durk's Lamron crew, rapping in his song What Up from April 2011 how he's throwing up L's for Lamron with Durk's good friend Chief Wook. After this debacle, it seems that Durk and the rest of Lamron would quickly make their affiliation with the BD side known, and even get somewhat involved in the rivalry against the GDs in Woodlawn and the Washington Park neighborhoods, because as mentioned earlier, later that same year in October, Lil Durk would get arrested together with Lil Reese due to an investigative alert, which was allegedly due to a shooting that had happened in late August 2011 where 4 teens had gotten shot in Woodlawn, with one of these allegedly being FBG Butter, a member of STL EBT and a good friend of Duck. FBG Butter would be a big part of this early beef, particularly between STL EBT and O-Block. He would tell DJ Vlad in an interview about the juvenile origins of this beef, revealing that King Von actually threw his hat in the mud as a kid, and that years later he'd actually beaten up Von on the bus after school, which apparently caused Von to become very vengeful.
When we were shorties, through my church, the legend had in the mud down in the basement of the back of his mama's house. I threw my downstairs in the basement to the mud. I'll beat his into one of the guys at school. I guess they was in that shooting dice or whatever. Folks who he got into it with was too big for him, and folks just told him like, wait till we get out of school. I'm gonna have my little homie scratch you out. Talking crazy, not knowing who his little homie is. So when I came on the bus, folks like, man, whoop him, buddy.
Jojo from Brick Squad would release his song BDK in April, aimed particularly at Durk and Lamron. However, the chorus of the song would go much further than that, essentially dissing all of the Black Disciple sets in Chicago, as Jojo would announce that he and his set are BDK, or Black Disciple Killers. All of this was happening at a moment when the drill music movement was blowing up, way past the borders of Chicago to worldwide notoriety, all with the help of Chief Keef. And with the possibilities of fame and fortune at the fingertips of every driller and drill rapper, this created the perfect conditions for the gang war between the BD and GD factions to escalate, and soon FBG Duck would join in on the BD killer movement too, tweeting the same sentiment, and from there, Duck and STL EBT would get heavily affiliated with Jojo and Brick Squad, with Brick Squad and STL EBT, and particularly Jojo and Duck, then becoming the biggest faces of the GD side within the drill scene, together with guys like Lil J, who was focusing heavily on dissing Chief Keef and O-Block in his music. But unfortunately, in early September 2012, Lil Jojo would be gunned down in Brick Squad's neighborhood, becoming the first highly publicized example of how beefs in this new
I got a whole little checklist on this whiteboard that y'all only see. So I'm gonna get through this segment and we'll up out of here. Yeah.
featuring Lil Reese, where he would call Duck Lil Duck and rap how that he can't duck Durk's gun. Later that month, Duck's friend Lil J, who Durk had also dissed, would drop his response to the song titled Competition Domination, where he would call Durk an actor and tell how he was going to put him under the dirt. Duck would also continue throwing little jabs at Durk on social media, like in October 2014, some months after Durk's beloved cousin Newski had been killed, when Duck would take to Twitter just to announce that he was smoking on Newski. Durk would seemingly respond to these jabs in December 2014 when he would feature on the remix for E-Day's song War. This was perhaps Durk's most brazen diss so far, as he would begin his verse by saying how he's considered to be the one who initially sparked the GD versus
on live, and he sparked it with one bar or two bars.
BD War. This being a reference to how Lil Jojo had seemingly created the BDK song as a direct response to Lil Durk's L's Anthem song. Durk would then up the ante and diss numerous people and sets from the GD side of the war, including Duck's STL EBT set, and two of his close friends who had been killed in the war, Tuka and KI. A few years would pass, but in 2016, Duck would continue dissing on the music side, as he would release his mixtape, This How I'm Coming, which would begin with an intro song where Duck would once again diss Durk's cousin, Nooski. In 2017, the war between the BDs and the GDs would intensify considerably, after one of O-Block's most beloved members and the best friend of King Von, T-Roy, would be gunned down inside of a corner store, and the people responsible for T-Roy's murder were allegedly TB or Terry Barry from Taekwon World and Can't Get Right, aka Get Right, or Man Man from STL EBT, who would be seen posing for a picture.
Matter of fact, them boys, that boy had the same coat on. Can't Get Right. I'm talking about the same
in the exact same clothing from the surveillance footage of the murder earlier that month, while one of the people in the photo would be none other than FBG Duck himself. Duck would also go live on Instagram shortly after T-Roy's murder, where his brother Brick can be heard talking about the murder before Duck cuts him off and makes some very disrespectful statements.
Look on them on here going crazy. They so happy. It been funny as hell, because I know folks know proud. They got him out the way. I know. I'm on live, G. Shut the it's funny. Before you even get it, it just came on. But still, it's Instagram. It deleted instantly. It just came on. We got it. But damn, G, don't start. Damn, merchant, they popped T-Roy. It must don't be. It must ain't that important. It ain't all over the internet. I ain't see it.
T-Roy's death.
Hey, look. Shout out to my boy Chirac Legends, man. Shout out to my boy Chirac Legends. When it happened, he hit me instantly. I didn't know what was going on. It happened Valentine's Day, 2017. But look, though. I remember one of the things he said about it was, it's about to go down. You just do not know what's about to happen, huh? Me not knowing. All right, buddy. Huh. Yeah. Huh. That's all I gotta say.
Would cause a chain reaction of revenge killings, where O-Block and 600 would team up to create what they called the Get Back Gang, a group of killers hell-bent on avenging or getting back for T-Roy, with numerous people losing their lives during this period, including Duck's very own brother FBG Brick, who was gunned down in a brutal double murder. But all of this wouldn't seem to scare Duck, who would keep dissing his enemies in his music, like the song Smoke that he would release with Chirac's official peace pusher, FYB J-Main, who at the time was still in his over-whooping era dissing all the ops. J-Main would rap incredibly disrespectful bars, like how he was smoking on Durk's good friends, the late rapper LA Capone and the O-Block member J Money, or Durk's manager Chino, and in his verse, Duck too would join in the smoke-a-thon of Durk's friends, before also rapping how he was going to slide to Durk's hood in Lambron, aka 64th and Normal, and shoot it up. But talking about sliding, while he didn't quite know it yet at the time, Duck was on the cusp of his big breakthrough, as he would release the second installment of his This Is How I'm Coming mixtape series, which would include the hit song Slide. After the release of the music video for the song in January 2018, the track would go viral, taking Duck's career to the next level, as he would suddenly become a nationwide drill star, arguably for the first time in his career, actually reaching fans outside of the drill niche. He would get noticed by major hip-hop publications like XXL magazine, and the song would even lead to Duck signing his first ever record deal, and getting a major co-sign by the Atlanta rapper 21 Savage, who hopped on the remix. 21, who had previously done music with Lil Durk, and moving in the same circles of rappers living in Atlanta, was seemingly unaware about the long-running tension between Duck and Durk. He must not have even realized that some fans were suggesting that the entire Slide song was actually a huge diss towards OTF. But anyway, during 2018, this was also the year when Durk was making a comeback musically with the help of his new street prodigy, King Von, whose beef with Duck was much more personal due to the years-running war between O-Block and the GD sets of Woodlawn, such as Duck's STL EBT set, with Von himself rumored to have been behind the murders of several people affiliated with Duck's set. Therefore, it was no surprise then that since Von's first hit song, the December 2018 release track Crazy Story, he would often aim disses directly at STL EBT, even creating the popular catchphrase dissing that neighborhood, saying "We not from 63rd," and even going as far as to create numerous pieces of merch so fans could also express their dislike of Duck's block. Duck would seemingly respond to Von in a scathing diss track together with another GD rapper and his own cousin, Ruger, who would ultimately make his own nationwide breakthrough a few years later with his track GD Anthem. But back then, it would be this song, a remix of King Von and Mimo 600's track Exposing Me, that would include disrespectful mentions of numerous dead members from the BD side of the war, with the track remaining to be one of the most brutal diss songs released in this entire feud. A few months later, Durk would let it be known that he too was joining Von's crusade against Duck and his set, as Von and Durk would release Crazy Story Part 2, which ends with Durk repeating how they're lurking in 63rd 63rd, looking to catch their enemies. However, at the end of 2019, something surprising would take place, as Duck would release his song Chicago Legends, where he would pay tribute to many fallen rappers from Chicago, one of these being Durk's cousin Newski, whom Duck had dissed in the past several times. It's hard to say exactly what Duck's motives were. On the one hand, he could have been purely trying to push peace, but on the other, perhaps he was simply just trying to create a song that he knew would get some attention in the media. But one thing was clear, Von was certainly not interested in pushing peace, and only a few months later, he would release his song, Took Her to the O. To a mainstream listener, the song seemed like a rather standard trap club song, with Von's trademark storytelling style playing a major role. But to drill fans, the song was a dedicated diss track, where Von would essentially lay out a story where he runs into Duck as Von is courting the same girl. This encounter would ultimately end in Von killing Duck and taking that girl. The song would also include disses towards Duck that only the most dedicated Chiracologists would likely know, like Von making a funny but disrespectful wordplay about Duck picking up a brick and then murching it, or swearing in the name of his brother Brick, who had been killed in 2017. Took Her to the O was a smash hit, which now has over 300 million views on YouTube alone, and after the song's release, it was clear that Duck would have to make a stern response. His response would come only about a week later, releasing the track I'm From 63rd. Interestingly, while the song as a whole was a direct response to Von and his favourite catchphrase, it was actually Durk who Duck would address by name, essentially little boying Von, making it seem as if it was the big dog Durk who had sent Von to diss him on his behalf, as well as acknowledging how Durk and Duck had been going back and forth on wax long before Von had even picked up a microphone. But Duck wasn't done with the dissing, and it was his next diss song which would be one of his most disrespectful ones yet, and unfortunately also his last song, the infamous track Dead. Duck would begin the song by immediately announcing that the Chicago Legends track was nothing but business, before going straight back to dissing dead people from the BD side. Duck would also acknowledge Von mentioning his
I feel like he misses something here. I ain't gonna lie, I liked the fact that Duck did the whole Chicago Legends. It was a real good step when it came to drill. And nothing like that has been done before to that high of degree when it came to drill at the time. So when he came back with the Dead B song, bro, part of me was like, dang, he kind of threw all that validation down the window, like out the drain. But it's only so much you just gonna sit back and do. He was really the voice of the other side, bro. Like no other rapper as big as him, not even Ruger at the time. All right, so cool. Them boys going back and forth. It kind of sharpened both of their knives. They was making the best music of their life, talking about each other. That's crazy, but that's the true fact in my opinion. So, oh no, I feel like that's what it was in my opinion, not a true fact. But yeah.
Brother Brick in the song Took Her to the O, saying that Brick had been slinging dope when Von was still doing kid stuff like swimming and fishing, before dropping some more highly disrespectful bars about dead members from sets like 600 and O Block. Unfortunately, the rest is history. Dead certainly increased the size of the target on Duck's back, but regardless at this point, he was the most high-profile GD rapper from 63rd and probably the biggest trophy in the streets for his ops. Sadly, in August 2020, about a month after releasing that song, Duck would end up getting brutally gunned down by members and affiliates of O Block in a brazen, broad daylight attack in Chicago's most upscale shopping district, located in the Gold Coast neighborhood, right in front of the Dolce & Gabbana store. Now, if you want to see a deep dive all into the details of the murder of FBG Duck and the aftermath, you can go and check out my 2.5-hour video just on that topic. But for the purpose of this video, let's keep things brief and focused on Durk's connection to the crime. Because right after Duck's murder, Durk would once again be caught right in the middle of an Instagram live when fans would begin to barrage him with comments about Duck's passing, with Durk acting like nothing had ever happened, showing himself hopping off a private jet in good spirits while completely ignoring the imploring messages about the death of his biggest enemy.
See fans make a plan, watch the score in the mail. You know, 39 years I heard them crying to sell. Boy, getting money right up. I took a picture on my block, they think I'm back in the field.
Von, on the other hand, would come out with the most unconvincing statement, trolling the whole world, saying how the two had settled their differences right before Duck's passing, even adding sarcastic lines about how he was going to be thinking of Duck every step of the way, and also making snide remarks about how Duck had been dissing his dead friends and family members. Meanwhile, as time went on, the feds would get involved in Duck's murder investigation and track down the entire route that the killers had taken to the murder scene, tracing their origin back all the way to O Block, with surveillance footage literally filming the entire crime, with them driving from O Block to the murder, committing it, and then driving back again. However, even with all of this evidence, it would be over a year before the feds would even be able to move in with their indictment. But eventually, in September 2021, the feds would indict 5 people for the murder of Duck. Charles Liggins, aka C Murder, Kenneth Robertson, aka Kenny Mack, DeCarlos Offord, aka Los, Christopher Thomas, aka C-Thang, and Marcus Smart, aka Moowop, as well as another man, Ralph Turpin, aka Teasy, who had been the person that spotted Duck and gave up his location. With such a clear trail left behind by the...
Man, I ain't gonna lie, thinking back on it, or thinking about it now, it's usually things don't get solved. So I feel like, you know, they want to use this as an example for them boys. Like, we can get y'all. We can get y'all.
The so-called O Block 6, also known as the Sloppy 6, it was inevitable that they would also eventually be found guilty, and all 6 are ultimately facing mandatory life sentences, while a 7th person associated with the murder, Zell Munna from O Block, would sadly end up taking his own life before the FBI could indict him. However, during and after the trial, the discussion would also focus on the possible culpability of Von and Lil Durk in Duck's murder, particularly as the prosecution's legal documents would claim that Turpin, aka Teasy, had allegedly called someone after he spotted Duck in the shopping district, asking around to get put in contact with Lil Durk's brother and manager, D-Thang, who was coincidentally no longer alive by the time these arrests took place. The indictment would also mention a person named as Individual E, who pretty clearly appears to be Lil Durk, being listed as a high-ranking member of the BDs, with these details suggesting that even the FBI wasn't ruling out the possibility of Lil Durk's personal involvement in the hit on FBG Duck, but avoiding naming him specifically. In fact, based on these documents, some YouTubers would even claim that D-Thang would have been indicted too if he hadn't been killed in June 2021. Furthermore, it would be revealed that there had allegedly been up to a $100,000 bounty placed on Duck's head leading up to the murder, with many pointing out to a vlog filmed in O Block a couple months before the murder took place that showed Von giving out wads of cash to other members as potential proof of this bounty being handed down. Furthermore, the person
usually people don't pay before. Usually people don't pay before, and then when it took months, it would have been actively, I'm talking about relentlessly, for that $100,000 to get Buddy. So I don't know about him passing out that money before was part of anything. It's just how it happened, in my opinion.
placing this bounty allegedly being someone who bought custom-made chains for O Block members. Indeed, the Fed's investigation would also focus on the so-called O Block chains that King Von had actually purchased for many members of his set both before and after Duck's murder, with many of the alleged killers of Duck also receiving one, as Von would apparently spend over $100,000 to buy altogether 16 O Block chains. The timing of these purchases and the distribution of the chains to prominent members of O Block, including the alleged killers, appear to symbolize loyalty and respect within the gang's ranks, as well as possibly being a reward for a job well done with regards to the Duck murder. For example, Moowop could be seen with Von at the jewelry store shopping for additional O Block chains a mere 6 days after the murder, while others like C Murder could also be seen posing with the chain on his social media just a few days after the murder. Interestingly, also Lil Durk himself seemingly received one of these chains, while Boss Top was alleged to be one of the leaders of O Block alongside Von during the trial, with Top actually describing the chain as a hood trophy. But wearing the O Block chain was by no means Lil Durk's only connection to Duck's murder, because in the years following Duck's passing, Lil Durk would diss FBG Duck several times in his music. For example, in his December 2020 song Redman, Durk would mention how he knows someone who died with a famous name, but his friends still haven't slid for him, this possibly being a reference to the fact that FBG Duck set, STL-EBT, aka Tukaville, would seemingly not retaliate following his murder, with apparent posts circulating suggesting that Duck's people were frustrated that nobody actually got revenge for him. However, the more clear-cut disses towards FBG Duck would start in early 2021, as Lil Durk would release the brutally named song Should've Ducked, together with Memphis rapper Pooh Shiesty, where Lil Durk raps how he gets so high, he gets high as Duck, a reference to Duck being dead and in heaven. As Duck's mother, Lashina Weekly, aka Mama Duck, would hear Durk play the song in late 2020, she would hop on social media to point out how Durk was monetizing her son's death, whilst also mentioning how Lil Durk had not been mentioning FBG Duck while he was alive, seemingly unaware of just how far back the animosity between these two goes.
Now he wanna get high. He about to get high like Duck. Durk! He hurt. He hurt. Well, he better take that
Who made the V-Roy gone? Not my mother son. Cause he ain't do it. Remember they had a song together. Remember they had their differences. Study one for the industry. This is proof. Y'all really showing y'all rich off me.
Featuring Meek Mill, and in his verse, Lil Durk would rap several bars that seemed to insinuate people close to him being behind Duck's murder, as he would say how his team might have taken a few L's, but in Chicago, they're winning for sure, before making a poorly disguised reference to FBG Duck, which is only covered by the sound of a gunshot, whilst also mentioning how Duck had nowhere to go when he tried to run and failed ducking when the shooting started. Lil Durk would seemingly even enjoy making creative disses towards Duck in his personal life. In March 2022, one of the world's most famous country music stars, Morgan Wallen, who had been collaborating with Lil Durk, would respond to one of Durk's posts with a bunch of duck emojis. As drill fans would see this, they would quickly check Morgan in the comments. After that, Morgan Wallen would publish an apology, saying that he had no clue that he was disrespecting the dead, and saying that Durk would always talk to him about going duck hunting, with fans quickly realizing that Durk had seemingly been trolling Morgan Wallen behind the scenes, telling him that duck hunting was one of his favorite hobbies. Wallen, who is actually an...
You know what? It's probably timing. I can't say that. Man, that was crazy.
Avid duck hunter himself had no idea what this dark alternative meaning might have meant to Lil Durk. Fans would actually even make note of Durk's many references to FBG Duck, with memes being made joking about how hard Durk seemed to work on coming up with complicated and intricate ways to diss FBG Duck. However, in November 2022, Lil Durk would seemingly have a change of heart, as he would announce to Rolling Stone magazine that he was done dissing the dead. This announcement, interestingly, taking place only a few months after the murder of Lil PAB that Durk would eventually be indicted for. But anyway, in January 2023, FBG Duck's mother would comment on the case against his son's killers, saying how she was not going to be satisfied until everyone in the murder would face justice, before making a special emphasis on the word everyone. And in a now deleted comment, she would further specify how she found it unbelievable that Lil Durk wouldn't also get locked up for the murder. However, a few months later, she would seemingly change her mind, instead contacting Durk via Instagram to congratulate him on the anti-violence initiatives that he was working on in Chicago with his Neighborhood Heroes Foundation, and asking if Durk would also meet with her Mothers of Peace Foundation. But perhaps, rather unsurprisingly, it doesn't seem that Durk ever took her up on her offer, and it soon seemed that Mama Duck would have a change of heart again, taking aim at Durk with a vengeance. As in October 2024, FBG Duck's mother, together with the mother of his child and another man, the latter two who both got shot during FBG Duck's murder, would actually sue Lil Durk, King Von's estate, and several record labels who had done business with OTF for the wrongful death of FBG Duck. The rap media would report on this explosive wrongful death lawsuit. This civil case filed by a law firm on behalf of FBG Duck's family alleges that Lil Durk, together with King Von and their affiliated groups OTF and O-Block, conspired to kill Duck and then profit from his murder.
It's been 4 years.
No, I don't know. I need you to explain yourself just a little more, buddy.
Since Chicago rapper FBG Duck was killed, and his mother's pain is still raw.
Not a day goes by that I don't think about him and the life that was taken from him.
FBG Duck, whose real name was Carlton Weekly, was gunned down on the Gold Coast by a group of masked men as he waited to enter the Dolce & Gabbana store August of 2020. His girlfriend, Cache Williams, and another man also wounded in the attack. They joined Weekly's mother in filing a lawsuit Wednesday, alleging rap superstar Lil Durk had a hand in the gang-related killing, wanting to take out Weekly. Their years-long rivalry playing out in a series of violent drill rap songs.
Our complainant law lays out that a $100,000 bounty was placed on the life of FBG Duck to have him killed.
The lawsuit names a wide-ranging list of defendants, including Lil Durk, his record label Only the Family, or OTF, and other larger labels that partnered with OTF, like Sony and UMG Interscope.
The lawsuit would make several serious claims about Durk and OTF, which in light of Durk's recent...
Let me just think how lawsuits work. And then what the labels gonna do? They gonna keep pushing it. They gonna figure that she ain't got enough money to keep covering court fees and covering the lawyer fees. I don't think she gonna get anything from this. Maybe I'll be wrong. Maybe I'm wrong, but I just know how them big corporations play. Like, they ain't trying to give her no money. And then they lawyers be just so much on standby. It ain't nothing to keep sending their lawyer there. is absolutely nothing.
Criminal charges could be incredibly damning for him financially, such as claiming that OTF is actually the media outpost of the O-Block criminal organization, and that prior to being incorporated as a music label, OTF was actually a collective of gangs consisting of O-Block, 600, Lamron, THF, and other Black Disciple sets, as well as saying that OTF, the label, had acted as a conglomerate for these street gangs and a hub for their activity. The suit would then claim that OTF, the label, knew, or should have known, that the gang members that they had signed and employed were engaging in acts of serious violence and criminal activity. One of the prime examples being King Von himself, who the lawsuit would claim had taken part in robberies, assaults, and batteries in the presence of Lil Durk, with this being a probable reference to the 2019 incident in Atlanta where Durk and Von were charged with attempted murder. One of the key claims of the lawsuit would seemingly be that Durk and Von had directly taunted FBG Duck before and after his death, and that the goal of this taunting was to expand the brand of OTF and to further the criminal enterprise of O-Block. Perhaps most damningly, the suit also claimed that Lil Durk and his brother D-Thang knew about the alleged $100,000 bounty that Von had put on Duck, and that D-Thang facilitated the events that led to Duck's murder, and that Lil Durk, King Von, and the O-Block 6 entered into agreements with each other to orchestrate the wrongful death of Duck to promote their commercial interests in selling music. These are some serious allegations, but whether or not they'll be able to actually prove this in court is another matter. Some of the claims, particularly the claims about the music, might be a little problematic, given the fact that there had been a lot of dissing between both FBG Duck and Lil Durk and Von, a beef which was very much a two-way street when they were all alive, something that both sides had engaged in for around a decade. In fact, you could even make the argument that FBG Duck not only started the dissing between him and Lil Durk, but also made the more vicious diss song, calling out numerous dead rivals from the BD side of the war, and obviously profiting from it too. But then again, FBG Duck is dead, and Lil Durk is still alive, and there's a big difference between diss songs and bullets. But on the other hand, OTF should probably have no less obligations than any other large media company. For example, what if it would turn out that CNN had hired some serious criminals to work for them and knowingly allowed their employees to murder people so that they had a constant supply of viral news clips, allowing them to rake in millions of dollars? It's probably safe to say that such a media company would not only get sued, but there's a fair chance to say that they would lose and people would go to prison. However, for now, it remains to be seen what, if anything, will come of this lawsuit. But the connection between FBG Duck's murder and Lil Durk seems to be something that's more than a coincidence. What is clear though, is that the murder of FBG Duck was only the first of many that have now been connected to Lil Durk, and the following year in 2020.
Man. That's definitely. I say what happened to Duck's brother was start of a slippery slope. For sure. That was start of a slippery slope.
Enemies to be killed in the streets, taking shots at Durk, literally taunting him about D-Thang's murder while saying that they're beefing with real rap goofies. For now, there's no charges against Durk in the murder of Stefan Mack, and it seems that these documents were unsealed more in an effort to prevent Durk from getting bail on the Lil PAB murder case. Ultimately, only time will tell if he will end up going down for his brother too. But what's most interesting is that if Durk was indeed using his rap money to pay for his enemies to be killed in the streets, from here, his career would only continue to rise, and rather suspiciously, so too would the body count, as more and more of those people who Durk had issues with would wind up dead, with Durk never missing an opportunity to jump on the mic and brag about these murders for the whole world to hear. While the murders of D-Thang's killers were incredibly personal to Lil Durk, the murder of FBG Duck was very much just business as usual in the world of Chicago's long-running gang wars. But while Duck at the time had been the face of the gangster disciples in his city, after his murder, one of his close friends would step up to fill the void that he left. This was the rapper FBG Cash, real name Tristan Hamilton. Born on October the 5th, 1990, Cash was several years older than most of his peers in the early drill scene, including his little brother, FBG Young, who was born in 1996. Cash was born into a family of GDs, and with his father being in the streets too, Cash would be exposed to that lifestyle early, jumping off the porch in his grade school years.
Yeah, my pop was always in the streets. As kids, we was already in the street, exposed to the street. You know what I'm saying? It was just a time we had to come home, but we saw everything that who ain't from the streets and ain't jumped off the porch ain't saw. We saw all young age so far as like coming out doing shit on my own through grade school years, you know what I'm saying? Anytime I got a chance to pop out and go somewhere without my people attendance, you know what I'm saying? I was in the streets, so.
Cash and Young's family would eventually move to around the 63rd and St. Lawrence area when Cash was in 9th grade, and there they would join the local gang set, STL EBT, and begin to spend time with other guys from the set like Duck and Dutchy. The four would eventually form the rap group Flyboy Gang, aka FBG, together with rappers like Lil J, Billionaire Black, Duck's brother Brick, Trick, and Wooski, who was always more in the streets than in the booth, but would still rep the name at times in his music. However, before that, in 2009, when Cash was only 80
people, you know what I'm saying? She cool people, but like me and her relationship, like not a relationship, but relations, like what started me rapping.
Really?
Yeah.
I kind of feel weird. Like I feel like you might be trolling me, and I don't want to have a serious conversation about it if you're just trolling me. But you know.
In the summer of 2012, Cash would film himself calling Chief Keef's mother without her knowledge and trick her into admitting their relationship, with the video then getting posted online, where it would soon find itself going viral on worldstar.com, the biggest hip hop culture platform at the time.
Calling Chief Keef mom, man.
This was clout chasing before clout chasing became a thing. Come on. Let me know if I'm saying it right. You know, I ain't trying to be too crazy, but you know, this was some clout chasing.
Real.
Whole lot of clout got chased. Look at that phone he on. I know that was the phone in the Times, but golly.
Hey, yeah, man, I ain't mean to hang up on you. Hey, what's up, man? When you gonna give me tickets to your son's show or not? I said, when you gonna give me tickets to one of your son's show or something? I know that shocked you, man. Your little son blew up. You would never guess that. Yeah. I know, that's crazy. I done got me some famous. How long you been f***ing me, man? I know you trust me. That's what's up. That little lady, though, man. 7 years, yeah, that's how about right. We used to work at the metro station. How much Chief Keef was then?
I ain't gonna lie, stuff like this will ruin a bond. I know at this time he ain't care, but dude, come on. This looking at it now, it's slick corny, but I know that was everything at the time. I can't even sit here and say if I would have did the same thing, because like I said, what's that, 2012? That was what, 15 years ago? Not 15, 13 years ago. And if I was what? How old was Cash? He was 22. Yeah, I probably would have did the same stupid stuff at 22. I ain't gonna lie. If he was born in 90, this is 2012. Yeah, 22. But, you know, as you get older, things change in your mind. Maturity come in and all that. Right now, it looks slick corny. I'm just keeping it all the way a stack. My mic on. I was just about to say the same thing. I would have made a song called Stepdad, Step Pappy. So I ain't gonna lie.
Calling Cash his stepdad. The drill fans' eyes were now on Cash too, but soon after, a tragedy would strike, as Cash's good friend Lil Jojo would end up getting killed. But that wasn't all, because after Jojo's death, Worldstar would make a post out of it, calling Lil Jojo the brother of Cash, or Cash Out, as he was going by the time. Cash would further boost his name by doing a radio interview where he would discuss his beef with Chief Keef and the death of Lil Jojo, as well as his plans to become a rapper.
Got a mixtape coming out, but you know him from the controversy that's been going on up in Chicago in the rap scene, and you also know him from Worldstar Hip Hop. My homeboy, Mr. Cash Out. Cash Out, what's going on?
What's going on, man?
Not much, man. I mean, I told you when they said you were looking for him, I said, man, let me go on and get on the ground and he go and hide the f*** out.
Man, I don't know how that play out, but I know I ain't hard to be found though.
I ain't mad at you. Now, I want the people to understand, one, why you're here, because there's a lot of stuff we want to talk about. We're going to get into rap stuff. We're just going to get into real life stuff, so we're going to allow you to talk about everything. But why don't you tell them what transpired to make you seek me out?
Man, my name Cash Out, man. Cash Out 063. I'm from 63rd and St. Lawrence. And I'm saying I've been in the streets since I was a shorty, man. Everything I do is valid. Everything I do got a stamp on it. I'm saying I started a Twitter page. You know what I'm saying? I just recently come home from prison, so you know what I'm saying, a lot of this stuff, you know what I'm saying, like, it ain't new to me, but since it's been in the media and everything, like, I'm saying, like, it's basically our hood where I'm from is like in the spotlight right now. You know what I'm saying? I'm like a trending topic right now, so.
After getting his name in the mix through his wild antics, he would then begin to drop music together with other FBG-affiliated artists, such as Lil J, Billionaire Black, and Lil Jojo's brother Swag De Niro, and King Yella. He would then even drop a dedicated diss track to Chief Keef, which he would start by saying how it's F Chief Keef, F O Block, and F Lamron, before making his own gang affiliations with STL EBT known, as well as once again dissing the 300 movement, saying how they're going to shoot anyone who reps it. While dropping music, Cash would also remain a menace on social media, where he would further aim his disses towards his ops like 300, and specifically making fun of Lil Durk, like retweeting someone who was mentioning a rumor that Cash's good friend Boss Trell had beat up Lil Durk or Lil Reese, with Boss Trell, real name Rodney Stewart, being one of STL EBT's most known shooters at the time, who had even been rumored to have killed OD Perry, whom O Block is named after, together with the alleged female assassin KI, aka Jakira Barnes. Cash would also diss Durk's manager Chino, saying that he doesn't even know who he is. Some people from Lamron would engage back with Cash, daring him to come to their hood, but Cash would inform them that he doesn't do Twitter beefing. When KI, who was often having back and forths with King Von on Twitter, would tweet that she wants to meet Von face to face, Cash would respond and say that he likes Von and wants to meet him too, to which Von would respond and warn both of them they do not want that, and that he will meet them when they least expect it. With Cash being several years older than Von, he most likely just saw him as a kid, so Cash would let Von know that he himself has a fearsome reputation in the streets, and all Von has to do is ask around. But Von wasn't impressed the slightest, saying that if Cash ever starts coming back outside, they can bump heads. Cash would continue to talk about his reputation as a moneymaker, but Von would tell Cash to ask his friends about him instead, referring to his reputation as a killer since he'd already at this point had a rumoured 4 bodies under his belt by the end of October 2012, with this Twitter exchange seemingly taking place the very same day that Von had allegedly murdered Gyro City member P5. Cash would then end the back and forth, saying that he still likes Von and confirming that his name is indeed ringing in the streets, but Von doesn't make any money like him. This statement perhaps revealing a certain generational gap that already existed between the likes of Cash and Von, despite the two having only a 4-year age difference, with Cash being part of the older generation of hustlers, while Von was part of the new generation of gangsters who was much more interested in making their name as a killer rather than a moneymaker. But still, it was clear that Cash was savvy to the ways of the new generation when it came to online trolling, as he clearly didn't mind doing the most to garner attention, like tweeting how he was in Lamron's hood at a gas station and that locals were so broke that they were asking him for spare change, and posting himself in front of O Block, aka Parkway Gardens sign, or even posting a photo where he said that he was with Chief Keef's daughter, KK. This perhaps being made possible by Keef's mother, who might have still been messing around with Cash even after he had outed their relationship. Lil Durk too would continue to be trolled by Cash, who would let him know that he was the first person with a Pelly Pelly jacket, after Durk had released a music video for his song This Ain't What You Want, where he can be seen rocking the brand. An interesting detail when you consider that Durk dropped a hit song called Pellicoat years later. After some time went on, when Cash would announce that nobody who dissed him had ever returned back to the hood, this would prompt a fan.
Man, dude been on some trolling stuff. That O Block picture was crazy.
To tell Cash to say that to Lil Durk, to which Cash would boastfully respond by asking when had Durk ever dared to diss him. Years later, the Reddit Chiracologists would ponder why Cash had been dissed so little by his ops compared to some of his peers, with the consensus seemingly being that one part of this was the fact that Cash would end up getting locked up numerous times throughout the 2010s, therefore being out of sight and out of mind from his ops for a long period. However, as we know, Lil Durk would diss many of Cash's good friends, even in the early songs, and when Durk would drop the song Competition, where he raps how he's trying to kill Duck's brother, Brick, aka 30, and Motor from Gyro City, Cash would gleefully tweet to Motor asking if he had heard the new diss. In December 2013, it was finally time for Cash to drop his own mixtape titled No More Free Cash, which would include the song like Dear Boss Trell, a tribute to his friend who had gotten killed in November 2012 under mysterious circumstances. The song including now ominous lyrics like how Cash couldn't wait to meet his friend in the afterlife, and asking Boss Trell to save a spot for him in heaven because he's coming to join him, but he doesn't know when. And of course, the tape would also include another diss towards Chief Keef, titled War with Who, where Cash would call himself the lieutenant of his set, whilst also dissing dead O-Block members like J Money and OD Perry. In May 2014, when Durk's cousin Nooski, aka OTF Nunu, would be killed, allegedly by Cash's good friend 051 Melly, Cash would immediately take to Twitter to troll Nooski's friends by making a tribute post to him. Then, a few days later, Cash would tweet again how they were up on the scoreboard while their ops were hurting bad, to which someone would reply by saying that they might be leading in bodies, but 300 and OTF were now making way more money, which would prompt Cash to reply and argue that they were also making plenty of money in their hood. Then, when Durk's manager Chino was killed in March 2015, 051 Melly, who was allegedly also behind this murder, would tweet about a month later how he needed a baseball jersey for the coming weekend, to which Cash would reply that Melly might need a Boston Celtics jersey the way he's been sweeping it up, as the Celtics at the time had just been swept in the playoffs by losing 4 matches in a row against the Cleveland Cavaliers. Melly would respond by jokingly calling Cash a goofy, to which Cash would respond by cryptically saying that somebody has to wear the shirt because of the way they're sweeping, with it not being clear if Cash was talking about the GDs or basketball at this point. While Melly would respond by seemingly denying that he had anything to do with either crime, Cash would also continue to diss Nooski, as he would take lyrics from Chief Keef's hit song Earned It.
Bro, dude really put the whole team on his back.
Controlling the ops, perhaps due to having so many other things to focus on in his life at this point. By then, he had largely moved past these old school street beefs. However, not everyone close to Cash was following this trajectory. After all, in January 2018, his good friend Wooski would release his song.
So weak, so I ain't even gonna lie to you.
Hey, G, let me find you in the bathroom, G.
So, them people just, I'm in the dressing room. These jumped on me in limits right now.
No.
Like 7. So, and then they didn't even take my chain. They didn't even run my pockets. They didn't even take my phone.
I would have blinked. So what the issue was?
Just FBG hookah. They didn't even take the chain. He a little bit something from me. She like, I don't.
Some fans would later speculate.
I ain't gonna lie, that was the playoff. She would have got slapped off GP. Yup.
That Durk was indirectly referencing this incident in his song All Love, where he rapped how his ops are always getting jumped at malls, but this song had in fact been released months prior to the incident. However, Day Day himself would seemingly mention the incident in a March 2021 song, Catch a Op, with THFTP, where he raps about catching an op at the Lenox Mall, before specifically mentioning jumping Cash and Wooski. In October 2020, just a week before King Von would be tragically killed, he would release his debut album, Welcome to O-Block, which featured the classic drill anthem, Back Again, featuring Lil Durk and Prince Dre, a song that starts with Durk rapping how he doesn't even ask when it comes to Cash. If his goons catch him, they're gonna shoot him. The fans have commonly understood these lyrics to be about FBG Cash, with Lil Durk saying that he doesn't even ask his goons to shoot Cash because they know that it's expected of them if they see him. However, the lyrics could also have an alternative meaning, with Durk essentially saying that he doesn't even ask his goons how much they want for a hit because money doesn't mean anything to him when he wants his ops dead. But whatever the intended meaning of the lyrics were, it seems that Cash too thought these lyrics were about him, and after Von's death, he would immediately begin disrespecting him, responding to Boss Top's tribute to Von, telling him to shut his mouth. In February 2022, Cash's disrespect towards Von would get even worse, as he would post a picture on Instagram standing in front of King Von's mural while throwing up the middle finger. But that wasn't even the most disrespectful part, as in the caption of the photo, he would write how the whole world witnessed O-Block's main shooter getting killed. Taking this photo was something that Cash later eerily claimed that Lil Durk had actually dared him to do in his DMs, revealing this to Adam22 on No Jumper and explaining that him and Lil Durk would actually talk privately.
Oh yeah, so why'd you take that picture with the King Von mural?
Durk told me to.
How did he tell you to?
He through text. Nah, he blocked me now, but yeah, through text.
What you want to show me your conversation with him?
Nah, he blocked me. He blocked me.
The conversation's still there, right?
Nuh-uh.
You delete text?
Yeah, like when I want to see, I ain't big on confrontation sometimes, you know what I'm saying? Like most times I ain't big on confrontation, so when I go to him, and then that was distasteful, man. Like
what was the what kind of conversation were you having before he told you to go take this photo?
Me, him, go over there and do that and see what happened to you. I'm outside right now.
You hit him up?
Yeah.
And he was just like, hey, what's up? Why Chicago's so weird because the ops always be talking to each other and like going on live and tweeting at each other. And
man, a lot of them went to the same elementary school. Yeah, like y'all forget that these blocks are probably in the mile radius from each other. I'm talking about all of them. O-Block so close to St. Lawrence, I swear to God, bro. Y'all seen that when J-Mane walked from there? Swear. I can run from one place to another. Trust. I actually had to do something like that earlier when I was at the airport. We got a red. That's me. Hold on. I can't tow this one. Hold up. Serious business. Anyway, what they forget is a lot of these dudes went to the same elementaries, same middle schools, same high schools. The streets ain't the only place where they know these like folks. Some of these folks are real live family members. Some of them grew up in the same project building, the Randolph Towers, Calumet building, or something like that. Like it's a lot. It's a lot that's than what we know or see. We just see, oh, they ops now. Nah. Some of these folks, older people, like uncles, cousins, and whatever, intermingle with some of the people over there. We just, that's why they so able to casually talk and want to kill each other.
I'm like talking about.
I don't see a ton of that in LA.
Hold on, I'm gonna grab something to drink.
I told Durk stop sneak dissing me before he left me on scene.
Really? So you kept barking on him?
No, I just left it. He left me on scene. I just left it alone in the DM.
Right.
Going back and forth with the ops was apparently a common thing, as other DMs between Cash and O-Block's Mana Duke would later leak online too.
Hey Duke, listen to me, folks. Listen to what I'm saying, folks. Pull your skirt down, folks. You not making no noise, folks. I'll ball you up and put you in the garbage can, boy. You can't see me with binoculars, dude. You can't see me on no type of level, folks. You better stop sharing them bankrolls with niggas, folks. I don't see you can't beat me on the song. You can't beat me at fighting, spit, none of that weightlifting. We can pitch quarters. You can't beat me, dude. You hear me? You hear me? Take time, try to get some followers up. Man, hey, look here. Go to your room.
few days after the mural picture, Cash would double down by releasing the song Back Again 2 times, a direct reference to Von's song Back Again, where Durk had seemingly dissed him. The music video starts with Cash watching a clip of Durk's $1 million worth of game episode where OTF sings along to the original Back Again song dissing Wooski.
We into it till you die, real street. So funeral, I might decide. Rest in peace. Shoot up everybody that's outside. When you feel this one, I know Wooski still twisted. He changed something different.
The song itself would be a pure diss song towards Durk and the entire OTF, as Cash would go back to back dissing their members, like saying how OTF Varney got put in a wheelchair and how Lil Durk still hasn't gone back for Von. He would also diss Lil Durk's fallen friend, Pluto and Lil Mo from Lamron, and even Durk's brother D-Thang, saying that he doesn't go to Club O anymore where D-Thang died. It was no surprise then that Lil Durk would seemingly respond to Cash soon after, as he would allegedly post and delete an Instagram story with a cryptic message, saying that someone shouldn't be dissing D-Thang if they're chasing girls and lingering in places, because it won't end well. And also in March, Durk would release his song Computer Murderers, which appeared to address Cash's photo in front of the Von mural, as Durk warned someone about sneaking pics in front of the mural like his goons won't come out from O-Block and shoot them. Only a few months later, things would really begin to go wrong for FBG Cash, as the Chicago YouTuber and hip-hop journalist Drea O would later reveal. Cash would do an interview with her sometime in May, where he would reveal that he had recently been in an incident where he and a girl he was with had been shot at while they were in the car during the early morning hours.
Look, I got so I did right, cause like folks, somebody had just shot me last week, but they were just like so mild.
You got shot,
but it wasn't. Look, it wasn't shot. Look like look, this what they did. This what they did. Like
did
fuck.
You get shot as bullet fragments?
They bullet fragments. So look, this was the did. I was in the car with them. Hell no. Look. So like this one is the one that went through the car. I was in the passenger seat. He flamed that bitch up and saw through the front window in the back. What? Knocked the back window out, everything. So like.
You were driving and shooting at you?
No, I was in the passenger seat, so that nigga shooting so hard I couldn't even. It was this female, like. And then I think it was her because like I was at her crib at like 4:20 in the morning. Her just left rap a lot, so I was sitting at her crib. And a guy kept on calling her phone. Call. So I'm like, she's like, oh my God, he steady calling. I'm like, who? He's like, my boyfriend. I'm like, all right. She was like, I hope he don't come over here. So like my girl was sitting right here, but see when you got keys to your crib or something? She was like, yeah, damn, now you see, yeah, I forgot I gave him keys. Don't matter, but I like an Instagram model.
I get nervous on the guys, back door. I'm nervous, but I ain't nervous, but I'm nervous though, you know? For them gray, what the fuck is going on?
Alright, I need to run that back.
Damn, I'm for them gray. I get nervous on the guys, back door. I'm nervous, but I ain't nervous, but I'm nervous though, you know? For them gray, what the fuck is going on?
It ain't no happenstance with that. I get it, dude, like box. But certain things you don't know. And it seemed like Durk then had to drop on Buddy. If he was able to say that on IG.
Oh, fuck it. Of course, now I'm like, all right, man, we kicking it. So I'm like, yeah, I want to get up out of here. But I had parked my car, so I get in the car with her, boom. So that man, her tent's light as hell, so I raised my seat all the way back. So we got off, we was on my way to my crib, man. And she was like, oh my God, why they always like that? My gun like this, I always sit on my gun and shit. I'm like, somebody asked the police? No, they ain't the police. So I looked up just a little bit, like, oh, ain't the police. Went back in my phone. Boom. Damn! He boom. So I'm like, but I never got back up. I was just like, damn. Cause I thought she was shot, so I was trying to push that out the car. Yeah. Like, boom, 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 boom. I'm trying to push out cause I thought she got shot, but I was like, when I see she was like, whoa. I'm like, drive. She drives. I'm like, now I could get my out, because that's the only reason I put my, because I thought it was the police, just in case they stop her. I'm like, now I'm getting right, but I'm like, man, what is? She was like, they turned off. I'm like, all right, bet. I'm like, just drive. Directed to my crib. And when I was trying to get up out the car, I had pushed the rest of the window out, like, cause the police was coming towards us.
This is not normal. Like, by the way, this is dramatic and crazy. Like,
yeah, but I done been so many people been shot around me.
It's not confirmed who the girl who Cash was with that night, but only a few weeks later, he would find himself in the exact same situation. But unfortunately this time, he wouldn't be as lucky. In what was titled as the last video of Cash alive, he was seen having fun in a recording studio wearing a black hoodie with a green print. And then, in the early morning of the 10th of June 2022, Cash had allegedly been at a nightclub where he had gotten into an altercation with some unknown people. Then, around 5:30 AM, Cash and a woman named Tasha West would be driving in the Auburn Gresham neighborhood, located immediately south of Inglewood. Cash was driving his Ford Edge SUV on the 1600 block of West 81st Street, while the woman was reportedly sleeping in the car at this time. Their destination possibly being Cash's home on the 8100 block of South Marshfield Avenue, which was only about a minute drive away. However, when arriving at an intersection, a black Cadillac would pull up on the car, and two unknown suspects would begin shooting at them. At this point, Cash would attempt to run from the shooters after bailing out the car, but he would eventually collapse on a grass verge next to the sidewalk beside a tree, while the shooters would then flee the scene in the Cadillac. Police and ambulances would arrive at the scene with gruesome pictures of Cash's body on the ground and being loaded into an ambulance, later going viral, with Cash notably being left laying next to that tree. Cash and the woman would be transported to the Advocate Christ Medical Center, where Cash would unfortunately be pronounced dead.
Units 6 and Citywide, we have a shot spotter at 8059 South Marshfield, 8059 South Marshfield, 22 rounds, nothing further, zone 8 station clear.
Well-known Chicago area rapper was killed in a drive-by shooting early this morning in the Auburn Gresham neighborhood. 31-year-old Tristan Hamilton was shot multiple times. According to the Sun-Times, he raps under the name FBG Cash. A 29-year-old woman with him was also shot, taken to the hospital in serious condition. It is believed Hamilton fired back at the shooter. Police don't have anyone in custody, at least not yet. 2 years ago, another rapper close to Hamilton, known as FBG Duck, was also shot and killed.
The police incident report would later reveal that a total of 23 shell casings were found at the scene, with 14 from a rifle and 9 from a .40 caliber pistol, while the medical examiner's report would reveal that Cash had been struck in the head, neck, back, chest, and legs. Reports also indicated that the shooting went down in 2 phases, with 18 initial rounds being fired, followed by a pause, then another 5 rounds, perhaps suggesting that the shooters wanted to ensure that Cash didn't survive and stood over him shooting to finish him off, with this detail seemingly being referenced by witnesses to the crime, as well as later lyrics that refer to the murder. Rumors would later even circulate, suggesting that Cash's killers might have even tracked him using an Apple AirTag. But following Cash's death, Chiracologists on Reddit would soon begin to react, like posting theories about his ops, such as 600 Breezy possibly dissing Cash by posting a picture of himself smoking on his Instagram story, while another commenter would say how Mimo600 had also posted a similar picture. A day or two after Cash's murder, his cousin and fellow rapper BG Lil PAB would make several posts dedicated to him, including a video of himself driving around together with the caption implying that he was going to slide for a month straight to get revenge. However, Pat would also make an alleged post and delete story where he could be seen walking in O-Block, which would immediately start theories that O-Block had been responsible for Cash's murder. About a week after Cash's death, Digital Real YouTube channel would post a vlog from O-Block where one of their members can be seen heavily dissing him, which would further boost the theories that O-Block was behind the hit.
On gang only. Dummy, zip him up. Put him in the car. Dead on the right. Straight to the wall. Ain't make the hospital. Straight to the wall. The world was supposed to have all this white singing everything but the women and everything but the legends. He walking on his cash out, but we ain't crashed out. Oh, gang only.
Meanwhile, Buck Munner, who is part of a set called TSG, who are the younger generation of O-Block, would make a post on his Facebook 2 days after Cash's murder, where he can be seen flexing a stack of money in front of the King Von mural in a very similar photo to the one Cash had taken at the mural just before his death, together with a caption where he would call himself the devil, while in another picture he would be pointing gun fingers towards the ground as if standing over.
I ain't gonna lie, I'm looking at this bread, bro. If he did all that for that, I ain't gonna lie, that watch though, that watch probably like a $40,000 Cartier. But look though, if he did all that for a 4 or 5 beds, man, 4 or 5 beds ain't no money for real. And then if you living in a city like Chicago, that's really no money. I can't even sit here and cap y'all down. They rent like 2 beds. Let me just do some research. Chicago apartment. We even got the down where they from. It's like somewhere over here. Somewhere like right here. You can find something for $1,600, $1,800. 2 bands. Here Everhart, here Rhodes, here St. Lawrence. 2 bands on South Roads. So that's what, 2 months of living. Not even including the heavy bills. Well, not
someone
the heavy
whilst
bills.
killing them with
The rent always be the heaviest bill, but like the other bills, like the gas, water, all that
gun.
good
This
stuff.
flexing raised a lot of eyebrows amongst Redditors. However, it was an Instagram video posted by an O-Block member T-Money, which would really make fans think that Buck Munna might have been the one who killed Cash, as he had been seen in the video allegedly showing a close-up photo of a body that looks like Cash's. However, it wasn't only O-Block who were hinting at their involvement, as OTF members would also go live 2 days after Cash's death to celebrate OTF DD's birthday. But the celebration of life would seemingly soon turn into a celebration of death, as someone would reference lyrics from DURK'S song What Happened to Virgil by then asking, what happened to your mans? While OTF Varney would then reference lyrics from DURK and Pooh Shiesty's Back in Blood song, saying how all of that woofing on the internet had got someone's friend killed, before someone else would repeatedly yell headshot, this also being the chorus of DURK'S Computer Murderers song, where DURK would seemingly warn Cash about taking photos in front of the Von mural.
I took go fishing with my brother. They like, damn, what happened to Virgil? I'm like, damn, what happened to your mans? All that woofing on the net, it got your mans hit. Headshot. But us crew equal a lot. Make a trailer to that. Headshot.
Moments later in the same live, the group can be heard rapping King Von's lyrics from the Back Again song, where DURK had also seemingly dissed Cash, before Varney immediately shouts Long Live V-Roy and recites DURK'S lyrics from his Aha song, saying how people can believe whatever they want, but Lil Durk got your folks hit.
Oh, folks now, long live V-Roy. Hey, boy, you talking You can believe whatever you want. I got your folks here. Aha.
Later in the same month, Lil Durk would release the deluxe version of his 7220 album, which would include the song Risky. In the song, Durk raps how someone would be an easy kill because they chase girls, and that standing over someone while killing them is his favorite pose, with these lyrics seemingly describing the exact way that Cash died, before also rapping how someone wouldn't die about their friend, but they'll die about a girl, which could be seen as a reference to how Cash seemingly didn't get back to Duck, but he ended up dying because he was with a girl that night, with some fans seeing this song to be Lil Durk's self-snitching about getting Cash killed. Durk's song was then followed in July by the group song To The Top by O-Block members Munna Ike, Durky, Buck Munna, and G Nook, where Buck Munna would provide a full verse of apparent hints towards Cash's murder, starting by saying how they're going to spin and spin again until they cash out, before saying that if their victim tries to run, they'll chase him down, and now he's on the news, and ending by saying how they caught someone loafing with his boo, before saying again how they're going to put him on the news. In June, rumours would circulate that Lamron members might have been responsible after an IG story was uploaded by members claiming to be smoking Cash.
Yeah, my boy.
Now we coming.
Yeah.
Smoking Cash.
Yeah. Oh, they hit him with the filter.
Yeah.
Later in July, Durk would go live with Booney Mo, DD, and other OTF members, during which they would count huge stacks of cash, while a clearly intoxicated Lil Durk and other members would gleefully begin to repeat the line, "They know that we did it," which is from Booney Mo's at the time unreleased song, We Did It, that was later put on the incredibly incriminating album Loyal Bros 2.
They know that we did it.
They know that we did it. They know that we did it.
They know that we did it. Drop song, man. We got a lot of raw shows on the video.
A few minutes later, Durk begins to rap his verse from the also at the time unreleased song Threats to Everybody, where he raps that if you play with him, you're going to end up by that tree, which many have seen to be a direct reference to Cash, whose body was indeed found laying on the grass next to that tree. For some reason, the other members would find these lyrics incredibly funny, but it was Booney Mo who would really crack them up once again, repeating the line, "They know that we did it."
You ain't had your gun for them, you better have your gun for me. Better have your gun for Booney. Better have your gun for C. You don't believe me, you gon' see.
You gonna end up by that tree.
Know that we did it.
The connection to Cash wasn't lost on the fans, who would comment on the YouTube video about this.
I
It
was
would
thinking about
count
that
huge
song the other day, and I'm like, I don't know, I was thinking about that the other day.
stacks of cash, while a clearly intoxicated Lil Durk and other members would gleefully begin to put on the incredibly incriminating threats to everybody, where he raps what he was in, but it was Booney Mo.
For them, you better believe me, you.
OTF were clearly trolling Cash. Meanwhile, Buck Munna would also go live, seemingly sometime in July, where he would rap lyrics that were clearly about FBG Cash, like saying that now that he's dead, he can't take another pic, a clear reference to Cash's picture in front of the Von mural, as well as saying how their ops are mad that an old man is in a body bag, and how the switches made him crash, and that he doesn't smoke Tuka anymore, he smokes Cash.
He dead and gone, that's what he get, man. He can't take another pic, and he got hit, he took word around the woods and neck. Off for that block where they don't play, I don't play, I take his face. And I ain't missed cause I know they pissed, I know they mad at man up in the bag. The switches came and made him crash. I don't smoke Tuka, I smoke Cash. I'm just lying, weak, that's exotic.
Buck Munna would further raise eyebrows after a vlog circulated, seeming to show him laughing and reenacting what Cash did when he tried to run away after getting shot.
You trying to run, you know you couldn't run.
Cash's former manager would seemingly further point the finger towards O-Block as he would post himself in August dropping the O-Block hand sign, whilst unconfirmed rumours would begin to spread that Cash's murder had been picked up by the feds, just as Stefan Mack's murder would eventually be picked up in 2023, this pointing to the theory that Cash's murder had possibly also involved interstate communication and exchanges of money. Buck Munna would continue to drop lyrics that seemed to point to Cash's murder, like his November 2022 song Come Here, where he would rap about jumping out in all black, just like the shooters in Cash's case, and how the ARP had hit the victim's back, just like what happened to Cash as he tried to run from his killers. In December, Booney Mo would finally release his song We Did It that they had been rapping during that Instagram live, where besides rapping the line about how they did it, he would also rap how he pays for his shorties to go slide and kill people, a message which funnily enough was also shared by OTF Jam in his March 2023 song War with the City, with Redditors commenting how this verse had finally convinced them that Booney Mo had paid for Cash's murder. However, there has also been other theories about Cash's murder, with one of them claiming that Cash was backdoored by people close to him, particularly a man named Big Dale, who was an OG from Cash's hood and father of one of Cash's best friends, Fat Shorty from Jaro City, who was killed in 2021, with this backdoor theory stemming from a rumor that Cash had actually gotten Fat Shorty killed by accident during a house party argument gone wrong. This theory would end up gaining so much traction that even DJ U would ask FBG Young about it, but Young would seemingly disregard these rumors as nothing more than YouTubers trying to get views.
R.I.P. Was responsible for like backdooring your brother FBG Cash.
Yeah.
So who is Big Dale? Let's start there. Or who was he to y'all?
Big Dale's one of the guys from the neighborhood.
What do you think of these rumors?
I don't think the internet. I don't listen to that.
Word.
Yeah. I don't pay that no mind though. Like that would make a good story for the internet, won't it?
It sound crazy as hell to me.
All right. It's some nice views, won't it? I mean, I don't be paying not that serious to me. I don't pay no mind.
Since the murder, there's been endless speculation on Reddit as to exactly who might have been involved in Cash's murder, with polls even circulating that allowed members to vote on which gang they felt were most likely responsible. One Reddit post circulated names of 5 potential suspects from the OTF, TTE, and O-Block sets. One of the names listed, OTF Black, had made a post to IG days after the murder saying that if you want respect in the streets, you have to get your bodies up, and boasting how Lil Varney gave him a CEO chain when he got out of jail and told him to stand on his ops' necks, with Black responding that it's OTF forever and he's got this, with people on Reddit commenting that this was some of the most insane self-snitching that they'd ever seen. However, OTF Black would later deny this and call out Reddit for putting bodies on him in a block-to-block interview alongside iTrap Rob and Terror.
Internet definitely put a body on you. They put one on me. Yeah? That blew me up. Trying to say he did. Oh, damn. Oh, damn. Where that come from? Reddit, DJU, all that. They got you on Reddit teed up.
Another person named in that post, TTE Stain, would also be mentioned in other posts that alluded to having committed a crime in designer clothing. Another post would claim without evidence that Ty Munna was being investigated for the murder, while another pointed the finger at Lil Mike from O-Block. Numerous people would point the finger at Booney Mo from OTF, saying that he was the one who orchestrated the hit, which is interesting considering how happy he seemed about it on the live with Lil Durk. Others would point the finger at OTF Didi, with some suggesting that Durk had been pushing Didi's career as a reward after the hit. At the moment, Cash's murder still remains unsolved, solved. And to be clear, there's no real evidence that either O-Block or OTF had anything to do with it, at least publicly. But then again, not so long ago, there was also nothing but rumors connecting Durk to the murder of Stefan Mack. Now, many people on Reddit think it's only a matter of time before they put this murder on Lil Durk too. But what we do know for certain is that Cash's murder would take place only a few months before the murder that may end up taking down the entire OTF empire. I'm of course talking about the murder of Lil PAB.
There we go. We getting to the real one now.
In November 2020, after Lil Durk's best friend King Von started a fight with Savannah rapper Quando Rondo and ended up getting shot dead by his best friend Lil Tim, Quando Rondo and his entourage seemed marked for death amid rumors of $1 million bounty being placed on his head, which even Quando himself aggravated, pointing out this $1 million on his head in his song End of Story that dissed Von, where he taunted Lil Durk and told him he should increase the bounty to $8 million. The tension between Quando's crew and Lil Durk's OTF collective had reached a boiling point, and going forward...
Hey, Quando, I mess with you, bro. But, 8 million a little egregious, if you ask me. What?
Quando needed to move cautiously and look over his shoulder everywhere he went, and it didn't take long from the death of King Von for Quando to begin to run into trouble, seemingly at the hands of his new enemies in Chicago. On November the 10th, 2020, reports surfaced that Quando Rondo had cancelled an upcoming show, with rumors that Lil Durk had bought all the tickets, leaving the venue empty, a move reminiscent of 50 Cent's infamous tactic during his beef with Ja Rule. Now, this may well have been a publicity stunt and not actually what happened, but following this and the potential threats against him, Quando would be seen cancelling numerous scheduled performances over the next several months. But his absence from the stage would only last until May the 1st, 2021, when he performed in Waycross, Georgia. However, the crowd at the show was very small, perhaps saying something about how his career was going at this point, or fans were aware of the danger surrounding him.
I ain't gonna lie, man, my show was really, you feel me, deeper than this, but I know I got a lot of going on, you feel me, but I still appreciate everybody who came out. I'm gonna run this like it's 10,000 people in here. Come on, shit.
Because after leaving the venue, Quando and his entourage would be targeted in an apparent assassination attempt at a Circle K gas station, where over 100 shots would be fired at their vehicles, though luckily, Quando would escape unscathed. Notably, this incident took place at a gas station, something that was apparently becoming a pattern for Lil Durk's enemies. I mentioned the song Who Wants Smoke, where Lil Durk rapped about people dying pumping gas. It's highly possible that this might have been a reference to Quando and the attempt on his life, as well as the people that were allegedly killed in revenge for D-Thang's murder. The tension between OTF and NBA, the label that Quando was signed to under his mentor Youngboy, would once again escalate in January 2022 when NBA Youngboy released his song Bring the Hook, a direct diss aimed at Lil Durk, OTF, and O-Block. The track included inflammatory lines like Youngboy rapping how he's rolling an O-Block pack, a clear reference to Von's death, before also directly referring to him getting killed down in Atlanta. The song's disrespectful tone would leave the fans anticipating Durk's response, which would ultimately come in the form of the track Aha, released on February 22nd, 2022. As we've already discussed this song in the context of Lil Durk allegedly avenging.
Yeah, I'm about to make a video documenting all this stuff that was going on around this time and how both of them niggas ended up in jail. Less than 2 years later. Lil Durk almost, yeah, less than 2 years later. Well, 3 years later, my bad. Yep.
His brother D-Thang. The song would also be a veiled diss towards Quando Rondo too, hinting towards being behind his recent shooting, as well as foreshadowing future attempts on his life. Durk would rap the now prophetic bar that his ops are dropping locations and he's getting the job done, and the OTF is not about to do any tweeting because they're sliding, and because of that, the feds are coming. Durk would also hint at Von's romantic entanglements with Youngboy's baby mother, Jania Michelle, rapping how Von was messing with Youngboy's girl and how Youngboy and his artists are all Von's sons, before mentioning how he warned Von about staying away from women who exploit their looks doing S-work online. This likely being a diss towards Jania, who had been seemingly posting this kind of content at the time. Some of the lyrics in Aha would also hint that Durk may have already slid for someone, though without finding his intended target, as he would criticize his ops for hiding behind social media, reinforcing this sentiment by describing how deserted the areas he had targeted had become, implying that his rivals were now nowhere to be found. After the song's release, the rap world would brace for Youngboy's response, which came only hours later in the form of the track I Hate Youngboy. Youngboy would mock King Von's death with the line clean up on aisle O, young and let that chopper blow, referencing how Lil Tim shot Von. He would also target Durk's fiancée, India Royale, rapping how Durk had called him a but that description fit better to her. Youngboy would even shout out one of O-Block's biggest enemies, FBG Wooski, by rapping how he was bumping Wooski's song at his home, the song in question likely being Wooski's infamous diss song, The Computer's Remix. Now, Youngboy's highly disrespectful track would leave fans and industry on-siders on edge, worried about how this already volatile feud might escalate, and at this point, even the podcasters were warning Durk not to escalate things. On March the 10th, 2022, Durk would appear on leading hip-hop podcast $1 Million Worth of Game with street veteran hosts Gilly and Wallow. In the episode, Wallow would warn Durk and his friends not to crash out on their incredible career opportunities chasing revenge in the streets, firstly getting emotional, keeping it real with the room, and telling the OTF members that some of them might not be alive next year or even next week.
Listen, we gonna be real, man. I gotta say this, because some of y'all in this room, y'all might not see next year. Y'all might not see next week. And niggas ain't saying that to y'all because a lot of y'all niggas ain't got no fathers and none of that. So my position is here and here.
Gilly would go on to speak prophetically, reminding Durk how happy he was after his father came home from his 27-year sentence because he had missed him so much, and warning him not to do the same to his own children.
He happy a grown man, and he happy that his dad back. Grown, he's like, damn, because he missed that shit. And I know a lot of that gave y'all game, they gave y'all game that was beneficial to them and it wasn't beneficial to y'all, and it put y'all in a fucked up position in life. Because we gotta get it right so we can take care of these babies. The OGs, when they see you, you know what they say? You rhyme just like your daddy. Your daddy homies is not in position, they're just out here living off of memories. When them niggas see you, they can't give you no game. Because they on drugs or they ain't in position. So they'll just tell you some shit, you just like your daddy. And the sad thing is, you just like your daddy. You ain't never get a chance to get another life, man. There's a real world is waiting for y'all. And I'm telling you, man, these babies and these women, they depending on y'all.
Wallow would warn Durk and his friends to think beyond their neighborhood and make the most of the opportunity they had.
And that's why every time y'all go out with him on tour or go somewhere, take advantage of what you're seeing, man. That exposure would change your mind.
Wallow would then seemingly allude to the death of Von, D-Thang, and other people close to Durk, telling Durk he also has over 30 friends that he's lost to the streets, including his brother, but he didn't throw his life away so that he could be around to support their families.
I can name 20, 30 of my homies is dead. I'm here though, and I'm gonna say some shit that, like, this is documented. My brother died in my grandma's arms.
Child, so Durk is brothers to a devil. Durk might not have realized just how deep these lyrics were at the time, but he was indeed deeply invested in avenging his evil twin's life, and it would seem that only within months of saying on the song how he was trying to nail his enemy, soon he would get the call and find out the location of the very man King Von was trying to fight with the night he lost his life. And seemingly, exactly like FBG Duck, Quando and his entourage would be the subject of a broad daylight assassination attempt, but the only thing that was different is that this time it took place in California. From what we know at the time, on August the 18th, 2022, Quando, Rondo and his close associate and cousin Lil PAB were in Los Angeles, California. Unbeknownst to them, their location was leaked to members of Lil Durk's OTF collective by an unnamed co-conspirator known only at this stage as Number 4. According to the indictment, on August the 18th, 2022, Durk and a member of his OTF collective named Vonnie would fly from Miami to Los Angeles on a private jet to coordinate the murder. Upon arrival, Lil Durk would instruct OTF Boogie to travel to Southern California, whilst OTF DD recruited 2 more shooters named Flocker and Brown Eyes to join the plot, providing their biographical information so that flights could be booked under their names. Lil Durk would apparently even text a warning not to book any flights under names directly linked to him, but this was either ignored or sent too late, as an OTF-linked credit card would indeed be used to purchase flights for DD, Flucker, Brown Eyes, Boogie, and another co-conspirator to travel from Chicago to San Diego on August the 18th. OTF Boogie and others confirmed their travel plans through text messages, including one message from OTF DD to someone on Instagram stating, "On my way to LA." Upon their arrival in Southern California, the group traveled by car to meet OTF Vonnie in Los Angeles. Vonnie would then purchase 4 black ski masks in cash and use another OTF credit card to rent a hotel room at the Universal City Hotel for the group. At this meeting, Vonnie supplied the team with firearms, including fully automatic weapons, and secured 2 cars for their use, a white BMW sedan and a white Infiniti sedan with a fake license plate. The vehicles were then used to follow and track Quando Rondo's movements throughout Los Angeles, including to a hotel in downtown Los Angeles where he was staying, and the next day, on August the 19th, 2022, the group would follow Quando's black Escalade to several locations, including a dispensary on Flower Street and a clothing store on Melrose Avenue. They would track the Escalade to a gas station on Beverly Boulevard, where OTF Boogie drove the Infiniti into an alley behind the station and parked up. Lil PAB and Quando were sitting in the back of a parked tinted black Cadillac Escalade getting some gas on 8489 Beverly Boulevard. As the car was filling up with fuel, just mere seconds later, a flurry of shots would ring out, targeting any and everyone around that car, with law enforcement recovering 18 shell casings on the scene.
It all started at this mobile gas station at 5:30 Friday evening. LAPD says witnesses heard multiple gunshots, then watched a couple cars zoom off. 3 people in 1 car shot at this black Cadillac Escalade. It's unclear if those inside shot back.
Can I get some space, please?
It ended at Santa Monica Boulevard. Deputies found it peppered with bullet holes and a shattered window. One man inside, a member of Rondo's entourage, had been shot. The 23-year-old was taken to the hospital where he died.
The shooting itself took place just before 5:30 p.m. at a mobile gas station near the popular Los Angeles tourist destination, the Beverly Center. According to police, 3 masked gunmen got out of a white car in dark clothing, with a later indictment identifying Flacker, Brown Eyes, and an unnamed shooter opening fire on Quando's car using firearms provided by Vonnie, including a fully automatic weapon. These gunshots would ultimately hit Lil PAB, who was standing next to Quando's car pumping gas at this point. The attack was described as a professional hit occurring without any prior argument or confrontation, and after the shooting, the attackers fled the scene in the Infiniti that was being driven by Boogie. After being shot at, Quando's entourage jumped back in the car and attempted to flee, driving a short distance before pulling over to seek medical attention for Lil PAB. And despite efforts to save him, PAB would unfortunately succumb to his injuries and pass away. But to make matters worse, the dramatic scene was captured by bystanders, with footage of Quando breaking down emotionally and screaming no as PAB was taken from the vehicle, with this tragic scene being recorded and broadcast on the news where it ultimately went viral. While Quando was screaming over PAB's dead body, the shooters were celebrating and negotiating their payment, since they didn't actually kill Quando, the intended target. Later that day, the group, including Vonnie, Dee, Flacker, Brown Eyes, Boogie, and the co-conspirator, would gather at an In-N-Out restaurant to discuss the attack and the payments for the shooters. Once again, using an OTF credit card, flights were booked for the group to return to Chicago from San Diego, and they flew back that same evening. And after this, other OTF members would post on social media indicating the group's responsibility for the murder, including one post revealing that PAB died of a headshot seemingly before the news even reported it, and another OTF affiliate, Lil Varney, tagging Quando and making fun of PAB's death on Instagram. Meanwhile, following the murder of Lil PAB, Quando Rondo announced that he was dropping his affiliation with the Rolling 60s Crips, signaling his intention to step away from gang life. He declared on social media that he was laying down his neighborhood Crip flag and that he wanted to focus on his family and loved ones rather than gangbanging. However, the move was met with backlash from other Crip members, some of whom criticized his departure as a sign of weakness. But despite the criticism, Quando stood by his decision.
And look though, at the time, it didn't make no sense to me. Well, okay, I can't say it didn't make sense. In my head, I was thinking like maybe he just really want to be done with the gangbang stuff. But now looking at it, it makes total sense. Them folks is back though. I wouldn't want to rep the flag neither. Y'all back though. Get drops. Y'all gave up the drop. My people's gone. I don't want no parts of y'all. For real. I want no parts.
Emphasizing that he no longer wanted to be involved in the gang conflicts that had claimed the life of his close friend Lil PAB. But while Quando was attempting to lie low and remove himself from the gangs and conflicts that had claimed the life of his friend back on DURK'S side, having now apparently avenged King Von's death, even with the murder of an innocent affiliate who was just there with Quando, it would seem that Durk and his OTF shooters at this point felt completely untouchable. And after enduring years of slide for Von comments, this apparent get back would be too much for Durk not to mock or comment on. Despite what's now being referred to as an incredibly sloppy and reckless hit with a paper trail that's completely unheard of, from here, over the next 2 years, Lil Durk and his OTF affiliates would go on what I can only describe as a self-snitching extravaganza, releasing song after song and full-blown projects, seemingly claiming responsibility for this murder and boasting about exactly what had gone down that day. As with other murders, Lil PAB's murder would be the subject of many disses, with an OTF group mixtape titled Loyal Bros 2 being released on the 16th of December 2022, just 4 months after the murder of Lil PAB. But beyond the title, the project itself is wall-to-wall with incriminating lyrics that not only hint towards Durk's involvement, but track by track paints a vivid picture of exactly how the events unfolded, with Durk and his collaborators making countless references to the crime and its specific details, openly claiming responsibility for the whole thing. On the opening track titled Set It Off, Durk makes an interesting comment, seemingly suggesting that he recruits killers for his business, and recounts conversations with members telling him they don't want to kill people, so Durk instead sets them up with different roles in the business, like running real estate. In other lines, Durk makes ambiguous references to his ops getting caught slipping, and in the hook, he raps about giving his friends guns and asking them to shoot for him. In verse 2, he drops a bar saying one of his ops couldn't read his last DM because he was killed, something that some people have suggested is a reference to the murder of FBG Cash. But this is followed by another ambiguous bar where Durk says that he told his shooters to spin every block until their target is dead, and that somebody was due to be killed next, but he couldn't get to them, with some suggesting that this was in fact a reference to King Von's actual killer, Lil Tim, who was arrested in October 2022. The suggestion being that Durk's next murder for hire would have been Tim, but since he was in jail, they couldn't get to him. Then, on the second track, titled Mad Max featuring Future, in a bizarre display, Future seemingly opens his verse with a series of lines that again eerily mirror the exact details of Lil Durk's case, with Future rapping his lil bro, presumably Durk, drops bags and gets people killed and has people shot through the windows of their cars, and referencing that people get money put on their heads for messing with Durk. And Future even ends his verse with a jaw-dropping bit of foreshadowing saying ain't no RICO case gonna stop another body dropping, before asking how many bodies they have. The hook of the song would see Durk and Future likening their shooters running up on people and killing them to be similar to the movie Mad Max. And then in Durk's verse, he would go on an absolute rampage of self-snitching, boldly saying that he told Young Thug everybody that he'd shot and hinting that he could have been part of that RICO case that Thug caught if the feds were recording what he said. Durk then seemingly references the murder of Quando's cousin Lil PAB, despite him actually not being involved in the death of Von, saying that when it's war, you don't see famous names being killed, but they still try and kill everyone around their targets. Durk then references the rumors that he was involved in the PAB murder, saying that he doesn't admit to crimes, but the blogs seem to accuse him as soon as people die, and saying that he would never admit to murder and is happy that other people are claiming that body, a line which I think refers to an alternative narrative that was spread around, suggesting that Lil PAB was actually killed by drug dealers that he ran off on. Of course, when the indictment dropped, it seemed pretty clear that that was cap. Durk would then go on to directly deny blackballing Quando Rondo from the record industry and casting doubt on his criminal past, before Durk says that he is the person who chooses if people live or get killed. He later appears to reference two details from the murder of Lil PAB, saying the Switch is bound to kill their ops, free McAdoo, a 600 member who committed numerous murders, and then saying the chilling and self-incriminating line, "We're flying to get you." Now perhaps this could be interpreted as saying that he would fly to collect Mac from jail if he was ever released, but to me, I think it's a different bar, where Durk is just mentioning one of his killers and then moving on to another line where he's self-incriminating himself, admitting that he will fly his shooters out to kill you, just like he did to Lil PAB. This is followed by another dark line where Durk says, "You ain't know we were gonna get you, did you?" On the next track, Hanging with Wolves, Durk would make some interesting references to his life in this time. In one bar, he claims that he was out of town and heard a rumor that he was wanted for murder, pretty much speaking what ended up happening into existence. Durk went on to make references to Youngboy, whose original beef with King Von kicked off this whole thing, with Quando actually being one of Youngboy's artists signed to his label, and Durk would refer to earlier comments suggesting that Youngboy had told the world that they were beefing and that he tried to squash the war. Then at the end of his second verse, he drops another insane piece of foreshadowing, saying that he's the type of person to get on a flight with a warrant and that the police have got to catch him, something that he indeed tried to do. On a later track called For Real that features OTF member Booney Mo, he would reveal that he sells drugs to make money while his friends do the murders. In a later lyric, he outright says that his friends kill the ops and says that they get paid $10,000 to spin, and saying specifically that they get $20,000 if they kill one of the target's friends, and ending the song saying all his friends kill people for real if you play with them. A later track that featured Booker 600 and Lil Durk had a peculiar title, Feed 'em Addies. Now this title is a slick double entendre referring to giving their killers both Adderalls to focus on the murders that they've been tasked to do, and giving them the addresses or addies of their rivals to find them and kill them, something made explicit by the lyrics. And Booker goes on to rap that somebody's head got left on the wall for King Von. Then in Durk's verse, he would boast about having $50 million liquid and going on to rap an eyebrow-raising bar saying that he smashed somebody's nose and that in his hood, he's Pablo. Likely a reference to Pablo Escobar, but knowing Durk's lyrical abilities, it wouldn't surprise me if this was another coded reference to Lil PAB, whose nickname was also Pablo. He then goes on to drop a series of bars that sound to me like they're directly referencing Lil PAB's murder, saying that he doesn't speak on murders or people trolling, and seemingly referencing Quando's relationship being signed to Youngboy's label, saying why you signed to the dudes that purged it. Then rapping the brutal lyric referring to the murder of PAB and Quando's reaction being broadcast on the news, saying, "When I seen he died, I kept scrolling," and admitting that he's into beef with someone's friend, another reference to Youngboy and Quando's relationship. The next track is seemingly another bold admission of the OTF crew's activities in the streets, the aptly titled track We Did It. This sees Booney Mo from OTF rapping back to back with a posthumous verse and ad-libs from none other than King Von, whose death sparked this deadly crime spree. The song featured a brazen chorus which saw Booney Mo rapping repeatedly, "They know that we did it," whilst backed up by King Von ad-libs. "What did you guys do, Booney?" Booney would then repeat the line, this time following the line about having diamonds on his chain, saying that they know we winning, with that line about winning followed by another King Von ad-lib saying they know. He goes on to rap, "You know how we're spinning," and naming what guns they use and saying if they catch an op, you know we're gonna get them, and he would end the hook saying that now they're smoking on their ops. In the verse, he mentions OTF DD or D-Ski locating ops for the gang and chasing ops in rental cars, which according to the indictment happened. And he would even end his verse with a buffet of self-incrimination, rapping that he pays his shorties to slide and that he bets they're going to get you, following that up saying OTF, that's mob ties, ain't nothing realer. The second verse was a posthumous King Von verse, where in the final line, as Von has done countless times times before, admitting to murder, saying that he ducked that sentence, but they know I did it. Now, I'm sure people might argue that this is an ambiguous song which could be referring to absolutely anything, but to me, the fact that this project and song dropped just 4 months after the supposed murder that was Get Back for King Von, combining this song with the King Von ad-libs and a posthumous verse from Von, and repeatedly using the brazen line, "You know that we did it," to me, makes me think that the very purpose of this song was indeed to covertly confirm to the whole world that OTF did indeed kill Pab for Von, so that they could brag about it. The next track would feature OTF DD, or D-Ski, which you'll likely know is one of the members who was central to the alleged murder for hire plot and is all over that indictment. And on the track Seen It All, DD would commence with another incredibly self-incriminating verse, rapping that his team do hits regardless, and rapping that they're going to risk it all and put their ops in coffins for their friends, rapping that they stalk their ops in traffic, something alleged in the indictment with photographic evidence, and saying that they leave their ops on stretchers. And in his verse, continuing the self-snitching, rapping that they bully their ops with switches and shoot the fastest, and rapping how they don't give their enemies passes, they walk them down or kill them. Even admitting that his friends stood on business or got vengeance, and he raps they're coming to get you, and that their bullets will leave you dead in public. And I don't know if it gets more public than outside the Beverly Center. But then on the next track, Ain't Hidin', OTF's Chief Wook would continue to rap bars that seem to hint at OTF's deadly activities in the streets, saying that their lil bros hop out of cars and chase people and give their ops facelifts. Next on the project is the song Savage Stuff, where OTF frontliner Doody Low would continue to openly tell the world about his gang's murders, saying that he's with the real killers who up the murder rate. A later track with the very ironic title Block Is Hot would see Durk and DD going back and forth together on the same song, and Durk would start his verse with more jaw-dropping lyrics, rapping that his shorties hop out of cars, shoot people 4 times, and send them to the morgue. Durk would then go on to snitch on himself to an alarming degree, rapping that he's got money on people's heads and that he tells his people to grab the cars and shoot them. He would then reference an apparent attempt by Quando Rondo calling for peace in leaked DMs that circulated online, rapping that they were scared and wanted peace, but Durk rejected it. And Durk would go on to rap that if they can't catch who they want when they ride past, then they'll get his friend, likely another reference to Lil PAB. Durk would then go on to boast that he could be outside by himself, but no one would have a chance to get him, and that he rolls with OTF DD when it comes to the war on the block. And Durk ends his verse with haunting bars where he says that he's the reason that you got shot and that his music is what you hear when you die. Then in verse 2, DD would jump on the mic and raps lyrics which quite frankly are a prosecutor's wet dream, rapping that he's a threat, warning his ops not to get caught lacking or that he will leave you like the last person he caught. Then going on to rap how did his ops die and answering that the bullets ate his face and left him dead on arrival. DD would rap that knowing how to die is the only thing that his ops can beat them at, and at the end of the verse, in a line that will probably come back to haunt him, rapping that his friends face murders and beat the state charges. Unfortunately, with songs like this out, it's incredibly
beat the feds, nigga, then you oppress me. Yeah.
With all of the self-incrimination that Durk had done over the course of 2023, it would only be a matter of time before people began to put things together, and unfortunately for Durk, on the internet, Reddit forums, and in YouTube videos, people would continue to speculate on these quite obvious crimes. I personally released a 4-hour documentary about Quando Rondo's life and the attempts to end it in 2023 that had over 4 million views before the feds officially filed charges. But I was by no means the only one making these speculations. In his February 2024 interview with DJ Vlad, FBG Butter would ask how Durk is still outside when everybody knows that he paid to have Quando killed and got PAB killed by mistake.
Who the f you know name get brought up and what actually proving facts that you done paid me some money to go kill a motherfucker. And I done killed the wrong motherfucker too.
Butter then, seemingly with inside knowledge at this point, months before any arrest took place, would hint towards one of PAB's shooters actually telling the police that he did it for Durk.
The police know I work for you. Cause they say Shorty flat out told they like, man, Lil Durk told me to do that shit. And he paid me to do it. Showing receipts, like this gave me real money to get this man gone.
Despite having an explosive start to 2024, winning that Grammy for his inspirational song All My Life, behind the scenes it seemed that Durk was fighting his demons from the very top of the rap game. He was notably absent for a short period of time, and in June 2024, Durk revealed that he'd actually gone to rehab for an addiction to codeine and Xanax, explaining how he was living too fast and decided that he wanted to focus on his family and peace.
We got word that you were in rehab.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I want to embrace it, you know what I'm saying? Because it helped me a lot. I won't even say it was tough at first. It was tough at first, but it ain't that tough because I really knew what I wanted. You know what I'm saying? I knew what was holding me back.
To beat a habit, bro, it's all mental, man. It's a mental game. You know, if your body got a little dependence, that's when it become a physical game. But once you get over that hump, be able to pull through. And I'm no bull. Let me just slow it down. And no BS. Change the people you hang around. Of course, if you hang around addicts, eventually you're going to indulge. I don't care who you think you is. You're going to indulge. So, change the people you hang around.
And what was that? What did you want?
I wanted better. You know what I'm saying? I want to be a better man, a better father, a better leader, you know, so, but more action. So I got to make sure that self is good before, anybody else. It helped a lot, you know what I'm saying? Just thinking clearer. See, my main goal is peace, you know what I'm saying? Being with the family and staying out of bull. You know what I'm saying?
Durk would open up about feeling that his life was too fast before rehab.
Moving fast.
Moving fast.
Making excuses. You know what I'm saying? Letting the drugs take over me. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, just like the codeine and everything. Just
Is that what it was? Was codeine?
Yeah, Xanax. But make me.
Durk would drop a song commemorating his release from rehab, being seen in a Louis Vuitton suit and a skinnier frame. The song was called Went Hollywood for a Year, and it was a Pain song with a 3-6 Mafia-inspired bridge that sounds like Durk is actually saying farewell to his beloved codeine cough syrup. In one line, Durk says that he'll give $1 million to somebody who can prove he's a snitch, and another $1 million, but then appearing to stop short of rapping, find him. As well as bragging that he has killers in his circle sharing his money and cars, and mocking someone saying that their homie's killer is still alive, but for Durk, it's been a year since revenge. It seemed that Durk was back, trying to put a brave face on things and attempting to get his career on track. The month before his arrest, Durk releases a new song and music video as a teaser for his upcoming album. The song's called Turn Up a Notch, and just over a week later, he would release yet another track, this time with an interesting title. The song was called Monitoring Me, and obviously had a theme to suggest that Durk indeed knew that the authorities were watching his every move. And it also had some very suspect lyrics where Durk says that he can't send money to his killers in his own name, and that he doesn't know if the feds are setting him up, or if people are snitching. In another line that seemed to refer to the attempt to kill Quando that resulted in PAB's death, Durk says that he wouldn't say his shooters missed their target because they were so close, as well as rapping more lines that he can use money to have people killed, then backtracking, saying that his killers will murder for his friendship regardless of payment, as well as bragging about having seen his killers commit murder, then backtracking again, saying that he didn't see it, he just heard the shooter shout "get up" to the victim, and going on to say that if his enemies post their locations, his people will go there, and openly admitting that he pays for his people for more than just murders, hinting at OTF's dual role as a label and a murderous gang. Not only was the song another self-snitching anthem, but it came with a music video filmed at, you guessed it, a gas station. This was a strange time, and once again Durk was seen to be living a double life. Clearly going into promotion mode, Durk was making major moves in the industry, but unlike his recent song release, some of what he was doing was actually positive. Durk's the
nigga at a football game.
Bad people, get me. Come on, man. Bad people.
But despite the smiles, many people thought that Durk was cleaning house, knowing that bad news was just around the corner. In Durk's last IG Live, he was seen praying, perhaps asking the Lord to spare him from the consequences that may have been lurking. Also in October 2024, rap media would report that Durk's children had been sent on a trip to Disneyland. Perhaps this was truly an acknowledgement of him in Broward County, Florida on October the 25th. US Marshals would apprehend him, charging him with conspiracy for allegedly arranging that hit on fellow rapper Quando Rondo. The US Attorney's Office for the Central District of California would announce the arrest of Lil Durk on charges of conspiracy to use interstate facilities in a murder-for-hire plot that resulted in a fatality.
I want to begin now with some breaking news. Rapper Lil Durk is charged in a murder-for-hire plot.
Lil Durk's real name is Durk Bank, and he is from Chicago. This is his mugshot from Florida, where he was arrested last night and is being held without bond. This comes only
King Von's cousin, and played a significant role in Lil Durk's operations as his business manager. Back in July 2019, Vonnie would be spotted with Durk and Von at the iconic Icebox jewelry store.
Can I get an OTF chain, man?
The way things are looking this week,
yeah. Woo!
Not gonna happen.
A1, right? A1, right? A1, right?
And by early 2020, he would once again be seen accompanying King Von as Von worked on designing and purchasing custom O-block chains that many believe were actually given out as trophies to celebrate the successful murder plot on FBG Duck.
Slimmer roll or just one?
Yeah,
right
and I like the, you see how the leaves letters, I like them kind of like
graffiti style.
Just like, check this out. Like the O, like a I don't know, like longer instead of wider. Like, see, that's kind of wide.
I appreciate you guys once again. Thank you so much.
Definitely.
Hey, thank you, bro.
Alright,
Definitely.
Yeah, Scally, big dog.
I don't jig it off.
Yeah.
So that's the only way I want to
Yeah, wrist big. Yeah, a little wrist.
Yeah.
Me, it look like a big watch.
Since you're not picking these up today, I'm gonna send you a sample image of all of them.
Alright, I'm texting to you anyway. We're gonna text everything I write, so.
Well, I can text this back to you.
Yeah.
Following King Von's death in late 2020, Vonnie's proximity to Lil Durk only grew, and by September 2021, he was back at Icebox, this time with Durk acting as a negotiator during a major jewelry purchase. In footage from the store, Vonnie can be seen haggling prices on Durk's behalf and carrying a massive stack of cash for the transactions.
3 1/4 and 2 1/4. 2.75. 2 3/4. 3 1/4, 2 3/4. That's about 15% difference. How much would it be? That's what he had before. The old one is exactly the same size. It's just so how big? 4.5. You can say 2. This green. He didn't like this paper color. Oh my god. Appreciate it. Chief. Man, it's my birthday, man. Comfortable as fuck. You ain't even know. You ain't even know I had. No, that's how it goes. That's how yeah, man. Birthday behavior, man. We ain't go around this. It's like you are concealed the Tom Hagen. Watch.
I'm gonna leave it alone.
Godfather, you're Tom Hagen.
This moment highlighted not only his close relationship with Durk, but also the level of trust that Durk was placing in him, with Vonnie seemingly handling significant amounts of money and playing a critical role behind the scenes for OTF. Another OTF member implicated in the paperwork is DeAndre Wilson, aka OTF Didi, or D-Ski, aka Big Threat. Didi had been involved in multiple violent altercations over the years, with him even managing to beat a murder case in 2023 in regards to a 2014 murder that took place in Chicago. But this wasn't just any murder, but the alleged get-back for the murder of Tay-Ski, whom Tay-Town is named after, something which would have made Didi a very respected member within Tay-Town. Other co-conspirators include Keith Jones, aka Flakka. According to unverified sources, Flakka himself beat a murder case back in 2011 after allegedly being acquitted for the murder of Big Baby from Hula Gang, an almighty P-Stone set based in Sunnyside or Magnolia that has a long-standing rivalry with the Gangster Disciples in Rogers Park and Uptown. The gang is named in honor of fallen member High C, preserving his legacy within its ranks. Then there's David Brian Lindsay, aka Brown Eyes, who's also named as a co-conspirator on the indictment, and Asa Houston, aka OTF Boogie. However, along with Durk, there still remains two significant question marks, as two unnamed co-conspirators had their identities withheld by the feds on the indictment, leading many to believe that these individuals have perhaps turned informant. There's been rampant speculation on the potential identity of co-conspirator number 4, particularly LA rapper and rising podcast and content star Brick Baby, mainly due to him being one of the first people that had said that Durk slid for Von.
Off of Von,
nobody.
Yeah.
They say you can't say that no more. You can't say that.
Who is they?
Oh,
tell us
FBG
now.
Cash?
Nah, because Lil PAB.
Now, Brick has made numerous references to the crime in music, but in my honest opinion, there's really been no solid evidence provided to prove that he is actually the person that lined up Quando Rondo, just rampant speculation. In fact, Brick has talked about this case with so much openness and confidence, I personally believe that he was simply using the false allegations as fuel to boost his career, and it seemed to work. In fact, there's actually an alternative theory floating around the internet that the actual person who set up the murder is a lesser-known LA gang member by the name of TS from a set called Gutter Ave, with Reddit posts claiming that him and his friend had a personal vendetta against Quando after Quando refused to do a song with them. However, once again, at this stage this is all speculation, and it's highly possible that this person's identity may never be revealed to the public, and it could be somebody that we have absolutely no idea about. The other person who people have speculated may have been informing the authorities is co-conspirator number 2, who's actually one of the shooters. There's been intense speculation on social media that this person is in fact a beloved member of Durk's crew by the name of OTF Jam, someone who Durk frequently rapped about, saying that Jam vets killers for his crew, along with one rather suspicious line where Durk points out that Jam Jam is always very serious when they talk on the phone. Well, real name Casey Hester, OTF Jam was once considered a rising star within DURK'S Only the Family label. In 2010, Jam was convicted of a shooting, being sentenced to a minimum of 12 years in prison for attempted murder, and he would complete his jail term in February 2022. Lil Durk would post a picture of the stack that he had for OTF Jam as soon as he got out, with some Reddit Sherlocks counting and deducing it was over $250,000. In an interview in May 2023, Jam himself would verify that Lil Durk had taken care of him, giving him over $50,000 when he got released.
Because he's super solid, but like a lot of, like, you know what I'm saying? He said, Jam, get out there.
Been wearing a wire for the last 2 years.
I'm 20.
Bro, we ain't never moved our money except for that first time. Once it was that, it was that. Once it was like then, it was everything was history.
A stark example of what not to be, especially for anyone fortunate enough to rise above the trenches. With dozens of people depending on him, including his own family, Durk had every reason to steer clear of the path he chose. He should have taken to heart the lesson etched into his own past with the incarceration of his father, but now his children will grow up without him, all for a revenge that didn't even need to happen. The fact is, King Von was a ruthless killer.
It's safe to say I made it to the end, man. I'm gonna say this. The only person I feel like can touch the streets again is Durk. That credit card, if they that same one, if they can build not a reputation, but string together purchases that was made from Durk personally, then they can tie him to that credit card. But if this is a company credit card that somebody in the company get to use, what they got to do with Durk? He probably used something else to make his purchases. Who knows? But the only person I feel like can touch the streets again is Durk. This is a long one. Let me know if you made it to the end. We're gonna use hand sanitizer. Just put hand in the comments. Just let me know you made it to the end. It's your boy Snore, I'm gone.